Well, I can see it's starting something. Something's happening.
Oh yeah.
Something's happening.
Oh yeah. Things are happening, guys. And my voice is coming through on the because
What's it called? Cinematography? Like how they make the movie?
Yeah,
yes.
cinematography. It's basically the how they made the movie. It's basically all the gadgets and all
Okay.
the little
So I was gonna say that,
things in it.
like, I don't know if they actually went to those places for real or not, but they did have like some beautiful places, like the island, the Ithaca Island and shit. But
Hmm.
I was thinking of what's that word called? But yeah,
Cinematic scenes. Like
cinematography.
cinema, cinematography or cinematic, or you could say it's shortcut for cinematic scenery. And
Mm.
well, it depends how you want to do it. If you want to sound very intellectual, you can say it like that. It's up to you.
I could just say like the visuals, like the visuals, and it had beautiful beaches and stuff like that. But as far as, oh my gosh, well, you couldn't even enjoy that because the sound was blasting. Let's do this shit. Should I
All right,
change? Should
I'm
I change
ready.
my background, or is it okay?
No, leave that background. Leave the space mushrooms. You can say that you're infected by space mushrooms if you can't speak or something like that.
Okay, cool.
You could do something like that. Or be a bit of funny or something. I allow humor on you. This is our show. We do what we want here.
Mm-hmm.
This is our show.
I feel like
This is our.
I feel like we're just gonna start talking about all kind of shit. Yeah, it's how we're gonna start talking about shit. Don't even got nothing to do with the movie, but that's what it's for. Like, like whenever Joe Rogan or someone has a podcast, he might bring up the book author or something, but then they just start talking about every fucking thing. Hey, you want a drink? Hey, what's up? Like, damn.
Oh, that's why it's so successful. That's the reason for it.
Yeah.
That's the reason for it. But in any case, it's a good reason. It's actually cool. So I'm actually very excited because this is the first time we do it like this. It's a different way than we did our first one. So this is going to be much better, and it will get much better when we do this in the future, when we get other people on here and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting.
I got all
And
my.
since you are our little bird inside the what's going on really with the politics and stuff, so that's thing over there, it's a good thing. I will keep an eye on the British politics over here, but it's cool actually. I like it. It's brilliant. But yeah, I like that. That scene is out of Addo National Park. Actually, I recognize that scene. The Addo National Park stuff is scene. That's when you go to. That's in the Eastern Cape. When you go there, you go to the Addo elephants are different than the other elephants. They're much smaller type of elephant.
Yeah.
And yeah, they got like flatlands like that. It's actually not bushveld or anything like that. It's like that. And
Well,
yeah, it's
I'm
quite
gonna get on
interesting.
both my accounts, so whenever we go live, I'll have both of them up. What? Why is it only letting me pull this one up? I want this one. Thank you.
All right, so here we go. We're almost there. So we're almost ready for the podcast. I'm quite eager, my man. Quite eager. So this is going to be an interesting talk. I've got to talk about something in any case I want to talk about in the future, in any case about other things as well. So
Yeah, and your whole video and everything. So we got plenty.
yeah, actually, we can mention that as well. We can mention that as well.
We can mention anything. Get their fees hurt.
Yeah, get their fees hurt. Yeah, well, not. I mean, I like getting that sort of get it in there. You know what I mean? All right, we can just open up TCDN's one here as well. The Galveston boy. We have to do this. Okay, this is the Gremlin. Oh, I can do that. Open up this one. Hey,
Zaporizhia.
yo, boys. Reminds me of that song. Yo, yo, thieves and
Dude,
bears.
that fucking one Russian shit. The channel.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my gosh! It says "Welcome to Zaporizhia," and then boom, boom. Oh, I said, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
I
Well,
do
that's
not
the
want
way
to
it
go
is.
there. I do not want to go there.
No, it's going to be nasty. Not for sure. All right, I'm on the Galveston boy one. And I'm on my one. So I've got both of them open. So I've got both chats open. Nice.
Oh,
So there's people chatting on that side. We can cheat there and cheat out.
Chia.
Chi.
When we were kids, we had something called Chia Pets here in America.
Oh, what's that? Like the Tamagotchis. Remember the Tamagotchis?
Yeah, like little tiny, little owl-looking
Little,
things.
yeah, like they basically like a digital thing. They grow up in an egg, but it's like it's got a figure of something like maybe like a almost like a Pokemon sort of figure sort of thing or whatever. And it grows up and you have to feed it all the time and it cries. It used to drive the teachers insane, that stuff. It was madness.
Oh,
Because if
good.
you leave it dies, then you have to start again.
Yeah,
Oh
leave
man,
it.
that was madness. Some of the things people come up with is actually complete madness. It's nuts.
Complete and utter
Goes up and you have to feed it all the
This is
time.
madness.
This is madness. Stop misgendering me.
No, this
It's
is
not mad.
utter.
You can actually when they say stop misgendering me, Alien Page is like she's trying to play Leonidas. You know the guy that they kicked down the well. She's like he says, "Stop just misgendering me." And he says, "Man, there's no need to get yourself in a twist. You know, calm down. It's not man. It's they kick him and nothing happens, and the guy starts laughing and it cuts out. Oh, it's funny to watch.
All right,
Oh, I
guys.
love it. All right, we're ready. 2 minutes. 2 minutes to action.
Y'all ready to go now?
Yeah.
We're ready to go. We are ready.
All right, in 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome people to the stream. We have this beautiful podcast today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day today. It's a lovely Friday. I've got a lovely guest today. He's a personal friend of mine, and we are going to talk to him about the Odyssey. And we're going to look at the reviews that other people made on the Odyssey, which is actually an interesting concept to see what other people think of it. My personal view is my personal view. I'll give my 2 cents about it. In any case, during the discussion. But we are going over to him now, and we're going to discuss with him because he went and saw it. So let's go over to my friend, Mr. King Turbo. Let's greet him for a change. Let's see our friend over there. Let's have a talk to the man of the hour.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Happy Fridays, first off. Happy Fridays. We're getting into the weekend. Yeah, we thought that we could have some entertainment and talk about the new Odyssey, the movie, obviously, because it was widely acclaimed and lots of people had their own reviews. So we figured, we'll do our own and relax and talk. We'll talk about some other things too. But yes, I did get a chance to see it firsthand, and so I'm here to deliver on the news.
Well, let's just discuss since you've seen it the first time. All right, the thing is, like everybody got this idea that the Odyssey is now made like Homer's version, but I'm a historian and I looked at it. First of all, the race swapping in it and all the woke stuff in it and transgenderism in it and all that stuff. That's not Homer's Odyssey, to be honest. I'm sorry to say. But you went and see it, and you saw Batman and his black uniform, also, but basically performing there. So give us a take on. All right, let's start from the beginning. Let's go to the start of that. How can I say that film? When you sit down, what was your expectation of what you're going to see? Did you think it's going to be a good film? What was your expectations going to see it?
So whenever I first learned that the film was coming out, I was actually excited. I wanted to see, oh, there's a new Odyssey. I didn't see the trailers or anything yet. I just heard about the movie that was coming out. I said, yes, I want to see this. Later on, I started watching some of the trailers and I was like, this looks like it can go either both one way, either really good or really really bad. So now, like, my curiosity, I'm like, yeah, I have to. I kind of want to see it. And then lastly, my friend, he said that he would get me some free tickets. So I was like, dang, if it's free, then we're gonna go watch it. So yeah, you step in the movie. I was coming from it in a kind of like you, like a more historian standpoint, just to see, are things gonna be like. I was open minded. I just wanted to see what was going to happen. We can start off with the pros. Like, I can tell, what good things I thought that the movie did possess, and then we can go to the bad things. Or if you have like a specific question, we can go from there. Whatever you want to do.
Okay, let's first of all let's talk about what you saw as the good, the pro. Let's start with the pros first, because we can't just start with negatives, because I only got negative ideas about it. But tell me what did you see as the pros in it, and then
Yeah.
we can carry on to the negative side of it.
Cool. So like, for example, my friend, he wanted to see it twice. He got it he went the first time and then he got me free tickets and then he came back. He said he loves it, right? But the thing is, he's never read the Odyssey. So I think that for someone that doesn't know the story, or if it's a first time, like, you bring your kids and they have no concept of history or historical accuracy, it could be very good, just because of the visuals, and it was still beautiful. They still have cool effects. You still have the Cyclops and all kinds of stuff like that. So I do think that, with modern technology, it was a good visually. It was good on the eyes. Also, I'll say that there was parts that had very good dialogue between the people, not what the people actually look like or if they were historically accurate, but if you just took the dialogue and the words, it was written like very well, like the communication back and forth. And then honestly, that was pretty much it. That's where my the pros starts to end.
Okay, all right. So basically, all right. Let's talk about the elephant in the room now. All right. Besides the armor, that's actually not even historically correct and stuff, because they did it for Hollywood, like all films. Like if you look at the old Roman films with the Roman Empire, the uniforms are not really confined to the area, the time of the period, basically, because
Right.
many people don't realize Romans got different periods of time. You got the pre-republic, then you got the Republic times, and then you got the post-Republic times when you get basically the Empire as we know it. But they had only, because if you see a Roman soldier, think of Loroica Sigmundata, you see the armor plating, sort of basically armor they wear. But that's how people see a Roman soldier. But they don't realize that the previous Republican ones, about Gaius Julius Caesar's time, they wore chainmail, not Lorigia Sigmundata. Their helmets was different. There was like pre-Republic sort of helmets, that little dome helmet sort of thing. It wasn't even a proper the Roman legionary helmet that we know today, that we see as the benchmark of Roman technology with the pilum and stuff like that. That was in the infancy years of that.
Right.
But they started with the gladius. They had the gladius, and they had the Sparta, the longer cavalry sword. Yes, but they got that from Spain when they campaigned in Spain and stuff.
Right.
So they learned from the Spanish. But as we
Give
know,
them a little background on this time period. So we're in the Mycenaean Bronze Age.
Okay, the Senior Bronze Age. Okay, the armor was okay. They used to use boar tusks and bronze. It's Bronze Age weapons, Bronze Age blaze plates. Everything is Bronze Age basically. If you look at it at a historical point of view, they look different. And if you go and if you look at it, you can go on YouTube and you can go onto online. You can see historical Bronze Age weaponry of the Greek style, and you'll see they had like horns and stuff. If you played a game Pharaoh with the sea peoples, you see like the intro. That's more or less what the armor looked like. That's very historically correct. The armor they used there, so it's actually more or less to the period of that time. But when it comes to, for me personally, that's where I think he came short. I don't know about you, but I think he came short on that part. The second part is he actually butchered the story because he changed Helen of Troy completely with a person from a different region that never been in Europe at that time, from a different place. It's not Greek. She never been Greek because the lady they talk about was a Greek woman. So how can a Greek woman be somebody from a different race? You can't do that because they were not there. They say, all right, there was black slaves in Rome later on in the Colosseum and stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean they were from sub-Saharan Africa. They were from North Africa. They're not from the south. They're from North Africa. Maybe one or two from maybe from Nigeria or so forth. But I mean, it's very far in between.
Right.
But there were people of color, but it was not that black. And they're like in really sub-Saharan African black, but not during the time of Homer. The Greeks didn't even travel as far as the Greek islands and basically that sort of place. Because if you look where Troy is situated, it's basically in Asia Minor. It's basically where Ephesus and those places are. So technically, but all right. Now, what is your point of view? How do you see it? I mean.
So that was the thing, what you just basically went over. I will start with that because we're on the subject. These feel more, if you're going in it as a historian, you will be disappointed because it's literally like costumes. We were just joking, the Batman, but literally, I mean, the guy looks like Batman. It's more of a fantasy than an actual authentic Bronze Age, They have, there's another part that they go to an island and there's big titans, and the titans are wearing full body metal armor that like this would never exist. Clearly, we're in the Bronze Age. Not they're walking around with steel, full body armor, and so yeah, it's just interesting. Visually, it looks cool. Like I said, if you're a kid and you're not expecting anything, but if you want to see what the story is actually about, then you guys did it very an injustice.
Okay, I just got something here and say what you all think about the movie. Now, I personally think the movie is a flop because I don't think it's authentic to. I mean, they shouldn't have called it the Odyssey. They should have called it the Fantasy or something else, a different name, not the Odyssey, because it's not the Odyssey.
That's a fair point.
That's first. That's the first thing. The second thing is if they say this is a fantasy period of a fantasy Troy or a fantasy thing, they make it a fantasy thing, then it's different. But it's not. They call it the Odyssey. They based it on the book of Homer. So they should have stick to the prescriptions of Homer's vision of that period. And besides that, it was actually based on an actual incident that did happen during the Bronze Age because they did found the city of Troy. And Sparta did exist. Sparta is a real city. Athens is a real city. All those cities, Ithaca and all those places are real places. The kings of those places are recorded as real people. So it is a real thing. The only thing that was added onto it, because it's typical Greek styling poetry, sort of a poetry style of writing is like a Tacitus writing of the Roman Empire and stuff. It's like a poetic way of saying things. They added minotaurs and giants and all those nonsense in there just for dramatic effect.
Right.
But the actual battle was real. So, but out of that point of view, I think they butchered it. I mean, really, honestly. What is your point of view? I mean, you're a person of color. I mean, I don't have a problem with people of color. You know me, we are good friends and all that.
Yeah, of course.
What is because you get it a lot. I mean, I'm going to give you an example. Cleopatra, they made her black. And you and me know for a fact she was Greek.
Right. Yes, she comes from the Ptolemaic dynasty.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what is your point of view on when they do this race swapping and basically degrading European, basically how can I say, European culture, European history, European things. I mean, all right, empires or whatever, but
I
how
like
do
to
you feel
keep
about
historical things accurate. If it's a new thing, like let's say it's Star Trek, Star Wars, or something like that, yeah, I can see a green emperor. I can see the purple emperor. You know, it doesn't matter about your race. But if you're doing um a recaption of Martin Luther King, and it's some blonde guy with blue eyes, then I'm gonna be like, what's going on here? It's supposed to be as historical. I think that it would have just been better. It would have just been more better if it was more historically accurate. Of course, they want to try to be inclusive. That's what we say these days, inclusiveness. You must include everybody. But I mean, in the story of the Odyssey, there's not Japanese people. There weren't samurais. There weren't Native Americans. And I know that sucks to say. Some people might feel upset by that, but it's the truth. What else must I say?
On
Yeah, well, the
behalf
thing is, as well, for me, is like
on behalf
you
of the
can talk to
Native
DC.
Americans, yeah, on behalf of the Native American part, we don't care.
Thank
Exactly.
you, TC. See,
Thank you.
TC
Well,
doesn't
fair enough.
TC doesn't get a butt hurt.
And
TC's
he's
not
and he's
upset.
a Cherokee. And he's a Cherokee. He doesn't care. He's a Cherokee, and what's it? The Cherokee, and what's the other one?
Comanche.
You can just read
Comanche.
Comanche. So he's a Comanche and a Cherokee. He's a bit of both. So that's why he doesn't care. He's angry all the time, but it's good.
We could
But
do
in
a
any case,
whole
it's a good.
podcast on just that, but that'll be another time.
True. But just to come back to that, like if I make a movie about Native Americans, I will use, as a director, that's me, that's just my personal opinion, I will use Native Americans as actors to play Native Americans because they know the culture. Why didn't he use Greek actors? And in the Greek language is what they did with what's his name? Mel Gibson did with the Passion of the Christ. They spoke Latin and Aramaic. Why don't they do that? I mean, there's plenty of Greek actors that fits the looks of Athena, that fits the looks of all these people that they can put in there, and they could even go as far as speak the original Greek. That would have been cool with the original armor and everything like that, and made it a proper Greek thing. That would have been, I think that would have been awesome.
Right.
And they could do that. They can still bring in the fantasy stuff and all that little extra thing with the witch to turn them into pigs and all that sort of stuff, and all that. And but they made him also a terrible character. Odysseus has became like a whining man, woman sitting there in this because I saw the previous of it, like he's crying there, like I'm so sorry for what I did, sort of thing. What the heck? According to Homer, no, he was a man who was obsessed of going home. If you're obsessed going home to your wife, you're not going to say, "Oh, I feel so sorry for myself." You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, it's terrible. But give me your opinion about it. What do you think? I mean,
No, I
give me
mean
your.
that was the biggest part, and then the last thing that really just it made the movie not enjoyable was the volume. Like it was blazing loud to the point where outside of this of like the movie theater, you can see the wall shaking at certain points. On the inside, there's literally people sitting there and they're just putting their hands like to their ears because they have to block it out. And so I get it, when certain stuff happens, you want to raise the volume and make it intense and stuff. But anytime that little meter goes red and it just goes and starts staticking, it's too loud. Like we need to turn it down a little bit. So I think that they did a very poor mix of sound quality, and it made the dialogue, even though some of the, like I said, I actually liked some of the dialogue, but what's it mean when you can't hear it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's for me, it's the same thing, but it's also a question of what's the point of making something and you say it's basically false. For me, it's false advertisement. They say it's the Odyssey, but it's not the Odyssey. Basically, it's a different thing altogether. That's why I don't watch remakes of movies because they stuff it up because it's all woke. It's all that nonsense. It's not about the original storyline. If you like, for instance, if they get a remake, say for instance, He-Man and the Masters of the actually they did it, but they actually did a good movie of it. But I'm not talking about that. What's it called? Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie. What's it called? Oh man, I forgot the name of that movie
Terminator.
now. No, not the Terminator. The one who was playing the sword swinging barbarian man, Conan the
Oh, Conan
Barbarian.
the
Conan the
Barbarian.
Yeah, if they're going to remake Conan the Barbarian, I guarantee you they're going to make it a whole different thing. They're probably going to make him somebody from Japan with a short guy with a little bit of muscles with a katana instead of this
Right.
big muscly dude with a big broad sword. You know, I mean, I'm just saying they're going to do something like that, or probably making gay or something like that. I mean, usually it's either one or the other, but
They
that's
bet.
usually
They
where it
bet.
goes.
I'm gonna say right now, they better not touch the Beastmaster, Red Sonja, or Conan the Barbarian. They better leave them shows alone.
Well, TC, to be honest with you, knowing Hollywood these days, they're probably not going to do that. They're going to probably make it as woke as hell and destroy that franchise, like they did with Star Wars. Let's look at Star Wars. Let's take even Star Wars for instance. Let's put that in there. For me, they stuffed up Star Wars. Star Wars is woke Star Wars. I mean, all these women of we don't need a man, we don't need anything. We so
Uh,
powerful. We can beat up everybody. Sort of
I'm gonna
thing.
try out for Alice in Wonderland, and I'm gonna tell them I'm from the Mushroom Planet. I should be able to play the little white girl. And then if they don't let me play it, racist. You're racist.
Yeah, you're right. Or you can actually say, if you don't let me play, then you're bigoted because I feel like a woman today,
Yeah,
sort of thing. You know,
I
that's one
feel
of
like
the.
a woman. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
go, it's funny. It's funny. Yeah. Yeah, you almost have to have fun with it at this point because it's getting so ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it is ridiculous. I mean, everything is ridiculous. Let's go. Just take an example. I put a video out as a historian on YouTube. I put the Panzerslied that was written in 1933 with some images of the Battle of Kursk and some images of basically some cartoon images of a game in there, sort of thing, just for the effect, just to make the video like sound good. I got a strike on there on my channel for that, and I say no. This is basically you try to be a fascist or whatever you want to call it, but they call it these days, but they don't even know what it means. I wanted to tell them I'm not a national. I'm not a national socialist. I don't believe in their policies. That's not what it's about. It's about the song and it's about the period of time and it's about tanks. That's what it is. And it's a German song and it's about German tanks. It's nothing to do with anything about their politics or anything like that. There's a lot of those same video clips. It's historical. It comes out of the basically the archives. It's archive. It come out of the museum. I mean, I got it from there. You can use it, but now I can't use it because it's now so-called this. So what is your what you saw it? I'll show you what I did on it. What's your take on it? Do you think I did something wrong?
No, I mean literally it's the same video is already on YouTube. So whenever you post a video that's already on YouTube and they're not flagged with it, it's like a big question mark for me. Because how am I being offensive content, this and that, breaking some strikes on YouTube, and literally there's another video that has 13 million views, and like it's perfectly okay for them to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was just basically striking on me, just picking on me, poor me, because I'm a small little guy. I don't even have, I think I've got 160 people on there that follows me. I mean, it's probably somebody with purple hair with a nose ring and got some gender issues, doesn't know what sort of gender he is, or doesn't even know what sort of bathroom he has to use, type of person that says, no, this is offensive. But in any case, he's an idiot, but he doesn't know anything about history. For me, it was about the song, the history of the song, and basically to basically just play the song because it's a cool song. It's nothing like it just sings about driving in your pantsers and be be a soldier. Basically, that's all it is. It's like singing the battle hymn of the Republic. It's like for the. I guarantee you, if I put the battle hymn of the Republic on a video, and I put brave American soldiers with the American flag, stars and stripes, parading down in tanks down the street somewhere in the middle of somewhere on the exercise and stuff, I'm probably going to be banned for that, but we're probably going to be said that's also racist or offensive, or somebody's fifi's going to get hurt. Or if I do it for Britain and I put God Save the King, or maybe put in Rule Britannia or Land of Hope and Glory with the Union Jack on it, with British soldiers marching and stuff like that, I'm probably going to say, oh, you are a bigotist and a misogynist and a what you call imperialist pig. sort of thing. That's what's the latest language they use these days. So, what is your point of view on it? I mean, TC, you can also get your. I know you got your points of view. I know you like your freedom and speech and stuff. But I want to hear from Turbo, and I want to hear from you, both of you. What is your point of take on that sort of matter as well? Because this also goes in hands with what we're talking about the Odyssey, the movie as well. This is a similar thing. That's what they do.
I think KT can handle the American side of it. Go ahead, KT.
Well, first, I just want to preference off what you had said initially, like what's allowed and what's not allowed on YouTube. And I do want to say that it's important because I don't see why you can't show. It's more offensive to show something that's already happened than they think that's offensive, but meanwhile they force ideology down your throat. They have a bunch of girls half naked with no respect for themselves putting up videos every single day, but that's okay. But the moment that you talk about something that's already truthfully and objectively it happened, it's a fact. I'm sorry, in World War II, 2 nukes got dropped. Like you it's offensive now. It's offensive to say the truth. And so we're getting to a point, and we may have already passed the threshold, but it's not good when that kind of stuff starts happening. It's because we're basically promoting what fornication, idolatry, like I said, all of these other types of ideals that they just want to force on you.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. We can watch quickly. Let's go watch the review on that they did that somebody I follow is the Metrodon.
Yeah.
And he made a review on somebody that actually reviewed the review. It's basically a review he made on somebody,
Ooh.
but it's actually interesting to see what that person he reviewed on, what he was saying about the Odyssey and get his point of view, because there's also a historian guy and guy who's like into things, and it's going to be interesting to see his point of view, but then we're going to comment on their point of views. But yeah, some people have their own views and stuff, but some people don't have the spine to stand up on things. All right, here we go.
Check it out.
Let's watch this.
Home as well.
And by the way, guys, if you want to follow somebody that knows about
hello number ones, welcome back to my
Roman
channel.
history
This is the
and
Metrodon
samurai
speaking.
history,
So
the Metrodon is the man to go to. He's very good at it. All right, let's start watching.
quite a few of you have requested for me to check out this video. So this is a channel called Jonathan, who goodness gracious, Peugeot, I don't know how he reads it. I don't know what pronunciation I'm supposed to use. So I'm just going to say Jonathan, 300,000 subscribers. And he made a video called
we don't have
Nolan's
sound
The
there.
Odyssey
Oh, no,
Full
it's me.
Breakdown,
It's me that
the
doesn't have sound.
post-World War II consensus movie we need. I'll be honest with you, I've heard his name before, but I've never watched any of his content, so this would be the first time, sort of a little bit of an introductory watch for me. And just to give him a chance here to introduce himself, he says, Jonathan Peugeot is a French-Canadian icon carver, public speaker, and YouTuber exploring the symbolic patterns that underline our experience of the world, how these patterns emerge and come together, manifesting in religion, art, and in popular culture. He's also the editor of the Orthodox Art Journal and host of the Symbolic World blog and podcast. All right, so this is the video that we are checking out together. Without further ado, let's see if we agree or disagree.
People are willing to tell that story. The Europeans are evil. The Europeans have done evil things. Our civilization is guilty of all these sins. The European man has done all these evil things. And sometimes, I mean, most of the time, the accusations aren't wrong. That is, European men, European civilization, the West, Christianity, in the name of Christianity, a lot of horrible things have been done. And we have
True, that's true for every single civilization on the planet, but this is the coming up section. I'll return to this once we get to the actual section.
to be able to take the responsibility for that. But what's amazing about this movie, and it's because it's the story of Odysseus, is that there's a way back. That the fact that you believe that you've done evil things doesn't mean that you should let the suitors take your house and your wife and your child.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Doesn't mean that you should let strangers in your home take everything from you. And that you can see the evils that you've done and you can repent from those evils and you can try to come back home and you can do the cleanup that has to be done at home as well. And that those two things don't have to contradict each other.
Okay. Right. Let's see how he elaborates that. That's an amazing intro. Look at that.
This is Jonathan Pedro. Welcome to the symbolic world.
Love the music.
So a few weeks before the Odyssey movie came out, I made a video in which I questioned
Yeah,
whether or
well,
not
I agree
the
with Batterton there, because why every empire has his flaws. Like,
Yep, that's very true.
casting choices, of course, the swapping, the race swapping, having Helen played by an African woman, and
You know, that already kind of gives him a good point for me, because believe it or not, a lot of the people that are being disrespectful and dishonest about this, they pretend the race swaps didn't happen. Or they will just brush it off, say, doesn't bother me, and then they just stop talking about it. He's starting the video mentioning it. Whatever his thoughts are, I appreciate that.
and of course the trans person playing one of the warriors,
Right.
whether or not it was signaling some kind of subversion in the storytelling. You know, I was kind of worried about that. And then I got attacked by the left.
Oh yeah, that's a Tuesday for me.
I got attacked by the Substack stands. David Bentley Hart and a bunch of people just went after me
Let me guess, they called you a racist.
with all kinds of, and I kind of let it slip because, you know, they also were catching on a mistake that I made in the video where I said that the word Helen was related to Helene, which it isn't. And so that was a mistake on my part. And so I just kind of let it slip because I thought, you know, they have a point that I'm making a mistake.
See, I mean, that's humility right there. Very nice. It happens to the best of us, by the way. In fact, it happens. It's funny once you say that, because you see, he's got the humility to say, hey, I thought this was the etymology. I was wrong. I accept that, even though most likely, I mean, he didn't say that, but most likely at the bottom of it, they also said you're a racist. You still like let that slip. That's quite amazing to do that. Very calm. Usually I flip by that table. You know who else makes mistakes that are 10 times worse than that? Academics. High tier professors of emeritus, this and that. And oftentimes those are not even 9 out of 10 are not even mistakes, because a mistake is not done on purpose usually, right? He didn't do it on purpose. It was a little mistake. A lot of the time, stuff the academics teach is wrong. They know it's false and they don't say sorry for it. Check this out.
Mistake here, and they're kind of taking it a little far by accusing me of all the ills, of course, of being a racist and all the things that people accuse people, that side accuses people of.
Bro, I knew it.
And then I finally saw the movie. I saw it during the premiere, and so I had an early take on it, and I made a video saying that I actually liked the movie, that I thought it was a kind of Trojan horse for a beautiful story of a return of a father.
Well, it is a beautiful story of the return of the father. We need to thank Homer for that, though, not Christopher Nolan. With that being said, okay, let me guess this one. They called him woke.
Although I did use some of the, you would say, techniques that modern kind of Hollywood storytelling is telling in order to put inside of that story a story about the return of the father. And then I got attacked by the right and called things that I I've never been called before, you know.
Yeah, I know. Usually, I mean, I've been called both Meta-Chud and Wokatron. So, I mean, I guess it depends on depends on, it is true though that the left attacks me like a lot more than the right. So there is that, but still.
I think that shows a balance of in between of a normal person when both sides on the extreme are attacking you.
yeah.
Any extra thoughts on that, or back to the video?
No, just carry on for a bit.
And all the things that the right wingers call people.
Okay.
And so it's been a fascinating
What
All
is he,
right,
a centrist then?
few weeks. Very interesting. And so I thought that what I'd like to do with you guys is I'd like to do a kind of full symbolic
Yeah, that's
breakdown
so true. I believe so
of the
too.
Odyssey.
I think Trevor will agree with me there as well.
Definitely. I like that. I like the fact that this guy's honest. He's honest. It's okay to mess up, but guess what? He comes out afterwards and he says, "Hey, you know, I thought Helen meant Helene, like the Hellenic." And so, guess what? Well, I would rather someone come out and say, "You know what? I messed up. Thank you," like, and be humble about it, than purposely twist history and then pretend like it was real life.
Agreed.
Yeah, I believe so too. I think it's that's how I see it, and that's cool. Yeah, we can carry on with the.
I'm going to take your time. We're going to go through it. I'm going to go through the scenes of the movie, and we're going to try to break down some of the decisions that Christopher Nolan did.
Okay.
And
Nolan.
and hopefully this will also be for some of you an
let's carry
interesting way of thinking about how to interpret a movie, how to see symbolism in something,
I already know it's going to be interesting. I can tell.
and what's the best way to interpret a movie. The first thing to say is one of the problems I think people are having with the Christopher Nolan movie is that they're comparing it to the movie they wish they could see. They're comparing it to what they think a movie of the Odyssey should be. They're also comparing it.
I wonder why that's a problem, though, because, I mean, I suppose it depends. If someone is watching, they become a member of the audience, and as such, they can have an idea or an expectation when it comes to a movie, particularly if it's retelling a famous story that perhaps people were brought up with, right? And so that's a fair point of criticism because it becomes personal preference. Nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. What's the second?
That's also how I kind of feel about it. If you're going to advertise, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I show up and I'm watching dinosaurs running prehistoric time, should I grade the movie on the dinosaur experience I had, or should I grade it on the fact that I was promised Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and got dinosaurs instead?
Exactly. I came here, especially when it's so specific. Like if it was like just something vague, like dinosaurs, then you can make all kinds of different stories. But when it's literally about one epic, a book, the Odyssey, literally, and then you just completely change a bunch of shit that's not even in the book. You took some of it out, you added shit, you changed the characters. Well, then I can see why some people would say, "Hey, this isn't what I came to see. I didn't come to see what Sud calls not the Odyssey, a fantasy. They didn't come to see a fantasy. They wanted to see the epic."
Exactly, that's my point. It's a false advertisement for them to say this is the Odyssey when it's actually not the Odyssey. It's definitely something completely different, and that's my point of view. That's how I see it. And TC is right as well. I do agree with him there. All right, we can carry on with it.
Second thing.
To the poem, and they should be. They're also comparing it to the poem.
Yes, true.
And this is maybe a little more understandable why you would want to compare a movie to its source material. And this is something that's been really growing on people for the past few decades because
true. Actually, we've been doing it for everything. I mean, even back in the day with a masterpiece, a colossal masterpiece such as The Lord of the Rings, there were still those people that read the books before that were saying, yes, but I mean, it's always been Harry Potter, same thing. So it's not even predates the culture war in the modern sense. Whenever there is a reimagining or a transformation from one type of medium, the literary medium books, into another type of medium, whether it be video games or movies, I mean, the people that really, really, really love the original will always find something to say. And then there is the historical accuracy one.
I gotta step in there because I'm that person that he's neglecting to talk about. So the book Ready Player One, I own multiple copies of it since the day it came out. Ernest Cline, great author, wrote the Armada, also great book, also. And so when they remade Ready Player One into a movie, I was not disappointed. The movie still carries on the soul of the book, but they changed certain quests to get the keys and stuff like that to make it visually appealing. But the overall gist of the book is in the overall movie. And so it's two different experiences based off of the same core. And so I like both of them. Matter of fact, that's the only movie I have on my phone. When the power goes out and I'm waiting 9 hours for them to fix it here in Texas, I watch that movie continuously. It's a 2-hour-long movie over and over and over again until the power comes back on. Like literally. I could read the book. The book is right behind me, but I love both of them. Like I said, I've read the book so many times I had to buy multiple copies, right? So Oh, the book gets into like the first quest is a D&D quest. So they have to go to Planet Ludus, which is where he's stuck at because he's poor, right? So he's stuck on Planet Ludus. He doesn't have enough money to use the teleport gate, so he's stuck there. And so just so happens that the first key or the clue to the first key to get to the key is in a cave located by the schools there, right? Because the first clue is it kind of leads you to believe that a person going through the education system is where the key is located. So now you have to figure out that it is Planet Ludus, where all the schools are. There's no other schools. This whole school is nothing but this whole planet is nothing but schools. So you have to figure out the clue to figure out that it's this planet. It just happened to be the one that the poorest guy in the book lives on, and he can't get off because he has no money, right? And so he finds the cave, and he has to do an old advanced D&D module type thing scenario in there to get through to find the clue that leads to the key. And now he has the first key, right? And he meets the main character, that girl, inside there because she keeps failing. It's real hard to get through these people. You're actually fighting these, D&D characters in there, and she keeps failing. Well, he makes it through his first time. So once she dies and gets kicked out of the cave, he continues on. So she doesn't know how he did it, but he fallen in love with her because she's like important in the book, as a streamer or whatever. And so she kind of figures it out next by his clues, and then she's the second one to get the key. Well, in the movie, they turned it into a race that you have to figure out from something the main guy said that died, Holiday, to go backwards. Why can't we just go backwards? It's in one of the scenes of the movie. Bill and Ted did it, and because he didn't want to make no more rules, and so that's how he figured it out. And the first one to get the first key, the first clue, right? So even though it's two different ways to look at it, the book versus, it's still the same concept. It's the core, right? So I wasn't, like I said, it's not like it's a whole new movie. Not like the guy turned into a queer transsexual with hair down to the ground, long fingernails. It's still a guy, it's still a kid, going through puzzles, figuring out clues to get to the keys to win the prize, right? Anyway.
Even I
Or
completely agree with that point. I completely agree with it. And it doesn't matter if it's like a fantasy version, but whenever you still keep it consistent with the story, or if it's like that actual history thing, it's refreshing when I come to see the movie that I think that I'm gonna see, and it's even better. It's like, for example, let's do a fantasy one. There were like a couple of the Joker movies where I was like, yes, I really love this. And then with history, you can do like a Saving Private Ryan or something like that, and whenever you actually analyze it, you're like, wow, they actually have the real gear. It makes it, to me, more refreshing when it's more consistent with reality.
just a question for you, Turbo, since you're our guest today. Which is your favorite Joker of all the Jokers? I mean, if you take all the movies of the Joker that ever been made, the latest
My,
ones or
my the favorite actor was the one that passed away after he did the role.
oh, Heath Ledger,
Yeah, the key that one was probably my favorite Joker. That one was
The
probably my
Dark Knight
favorite
Returns.
Joker.
Yeah, mine was Jim Carrey and him.
Go ahead,
Mine was Jim Carrey and then him.
Jim Carrey.
Oh, Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Jim Carrey was the Riddler.
Yeah, that's close enough for me. DC done messed up their stuff back in the 90s, so I don't pay attention to any of that.
Because he was the Riddler, and Tommy Lee Jones was playing Two-Face. I remember that one. He played Two-Face in the Riddler. So that was the one with the Riddler and Two-Face. So it was quite funny to watch. And he was actually quite good. He played, I must say, I give it to Jim Carrey. He's a very good actor. And Heath Ledger, he was a legend. He played the first night, he played a Knight's Tale, I think the Knight's Tale or something. He played in that movie. He played in a couple of films.
Yeah.
And he played the Joker as such a portrayal of the Joker. I think it was the best portrayal of the Joker ever, as this psychotic, completely off the hinge, but makes sense type of person. He might be mad, but there's some truth in his madness as well, sort of thing. It's actually more like you feel sympathetic with the character.
Yeah, I think Ledger took the character to a point where any victimized person through life has a choice to make at a certain point. and he kept his wits about him, but the pain and anger and frustration he felt growing up, he decided to release it as an adult. And that's how I think Heath Ledger, that's why it brings it closer to home and people can kind of relate to that Joker version. That's why also I think that's the best Joker version uh, of it. He literally brought it closer to home for people that have been through some rough times, where you think to yourself, if I had it in me, so to speak, I can lash out if I ever find the person that did that to me. Just pull a knife out, let their throat, or whatever. The next time you see them, type shit. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's carry on with the
I want to see if
Yeah,
he's
let's
going to
what
touch
this
that
guy
because
has to
that's
say
more
about the
my
scenes and stuff,
sector,
'cause
if
I
you
would love
will.
to
So the
see
people
his
that,
point
when
of
it's
view.
historical, even if it's historical fiction, just the same way I don't want to see Greek soldiers with an AR-15. Well, likewise, I also don't want to see them with shields that are historically incorrect or with armor that just doesn't
Right,
work.
so
There is that
we there,
third
TG,
sector.
I
But
think he's still
once they want a
getting
certain
it.
coherence with the story,
Because
I
I would
don't
like
think
to
there is
see,
anything
and if
wrong
we
with
watch the
that,
scenes he's
because
talking
it's
about, I would
still
like to get your opinion on it as well, Turbo.
it's a natural expectation for people to love an original story.
Because of people's love of franchises, being annoyed that characters from franchises are
Yes.
being destroyed by their interpretation in different
Yes.
media.
Yes.
But I would say that this is a very thin take on how to look at something, especially something as
I accept that you might think of it as it being thin. I imagine you mean superficial, particularly if he is someone who normally goes very deep. That's the kind of feeling I get, like someone who sees symbolism and understands all of the underwoven patterns all the way down to the cultural depth and historical whatever. So yeah, of course, in comparison to your analyses, then I would say, yeah, it's a little superficial. That doesn't make it illegitimate though, right? Because this is really what we are talking about. Is it a criticism that is not supposed to be there, or is it a criticism that might be superficial, but it's legitimate? And if it is legitimate, then it has a place in our society, in my opinion.
the Odyssey, because the Odyssey and the story of Odysseus and the story of Troy is really the foundation of Western civilization.
Based.
That I didn't get wrong in my original video.
Mm-hmm.
All the people see themselves as going back to Troy. So many people's the British, the Franks,
Yes.
the Scandinavians. As soon as these peoples kind of joined to Europe, they tended to try to formulate how they came from Troy. And of course, the Romans themselves see themselves as escapees from Troy.
That was one of the original myths. I have actually a dedicated video called the True Origins of the Latins, when I show all the different myths and then the actual what archaeology, history, and historiography tell us. For instance, the merging of the two different populations, the people that are called ab origines, which is where the term aborigines comes from, which means at the origin. The Romans tell us about these people, and now they mixed with the Trojans in theory. So it's a mix of two different peoples. It's fascinating. There is the discussion of the gods, the people of the swamp, the people of the mountains. There is a lot when it comes to what the Romans thought. So the Romans didn't think I'm not saying that he's saying that, I'm just expanding onto it. I'm saying that depending on who you ask, the Romans had different takes of where they came from, but definitely the Trojan connection is one way to really connect to the marvel that it is ancient Greek literature and Homeric poem and storytelling.
So it really is the kind of the foundation. But for that reason, it also has gone through so many takes. And so even the movie that Christopher Nolan made isn't the actual poem of the Odyssey. It's the story of Odysseus. And the story of Odysseus has had all kinds of takes, from the Roman reinterpretation to the medieval reinterpretation, to Dante, and then et cetera, et cetera. There are all kinds of takes on these stories. And, the original myths, they have a kind of openness to them that makes it possible to take a character and place them in a relationship that would emphasize certain elements of the character. Now, what do I mean by that? And so, for example, if you take the character of Helen herself, the question is, what is Helen? Is she a victim? Is she a victim of abduction? Was she taken by Paris and, a kind of unwitting cause of all of the chaos, or is she just someone who was seduced by some guy and left her people and then caused all kinds of chaos because she was an unfaithful wife?
In my opinion, the latter would be more coherent with the original story that Homer was trying to convey. Look, I'll see where he finishes with this because I want him to fully flesh out this position. My idea, though, the way I would counter it, not because I'm here just to argue, maybe I will agree with the majority of what he says, but what I wanted to say about this is that while it is true that there's nothing wrong inherently with not recreating a one-to-one copy of a work of mythology, literature, and whatnot, simply because, I mean, you're telling your own version, so of course you're going to make some changes. My question is, what is the reasoning behind those changes? Because if I find the reasoning to be malicious, and I truly believe that when it comes to Hollywood, this isn't just Nolan, we have decades of information and data to support this thesis, this hypothesis, is that they're not doing it for an artistic, it's not an artistic device. It's not because they're trying to tell stories that can unite all of us. For instance, I'll give you an example of that. They are doing it as a form of propaganda. So in a way, it's similar to what the Nazis did.
And how do you feel about that, Mr. KT?
All right.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Sorry.
go
No,
for it.
he got it absolutely correct, because we're not trying to say, I want you to make every single page from the Iliad come true, that every single page of the Odyssey, every single page of Troy. No, we're not telling you to do a one-to-one match. We're just coming in, and if you have a new idea, then it's still okay, but it's just whenever you, if I find out that your intentionality with being Hollywood and corrupt, and your exclusiveness, like we've already talked about, ideology and forcing things down people's throats. So if you find out that the intention was bad, then that's where we have a problem. That's where we have a big problem.
I do agree with you there as well, because that's the problem with these Hollywood people. They have an agenda. They work according to their agendas, or their masters' agendas, or the people who give the money to make these things. You can have a look. There's not a film I've watched since 2016 onwards I ever watched, because all of them are woke. All of them have a propaganda. All of them have a story that they want to preach to me what I should think. And then my rights to counter that has been taken away. So I can't counter it and say, but I think this is nonsense. And I don't agree with this. If I do disagree with it, I am a bigot, I'm a racist, I'm a Nazi, and I'm a this, and I'm a that. And all the things that you can think of, and I'm a misogynist, I'm a misogynist white male, and you know what I'm talking about. The whole list goes about this long.
Yeah.
That you are, and you are all those things because you don't agree with their nonsense. Now, first of all, let people understand, if you say phobia, that means you got a fear of something. I don't have a phobia about any of their stuff. It's not a phobia. I just don't like it.
Yeah,
There's a difference.
exactly.
I just don't like it. I don't fear them. I don't fear Islamists. I don't have Islamophobia because I don't fear them. I don't have a fear of homosexuals. I don't fear them. They can do whatever they want, where they want, on their own place. That's fine. Leave me alone. I want to do my own thing because I don't want to mix with that, because I don't feel the same as that. That's the difference. And I want to have the right to do that. I want to have the right to be on my own little heap, on my own little area where I want to do what I want to do. But people are things like me and talk like me, and we want to be our own little thing. That's what we call independence. That's what we call freedom. That's what we call republicanism. That's what we call being part of a group that think alike. And if you tell me I can't do that, then I see it as authoritarianism. I see it as the real National Socialism, as communism, and all those isms makes that I don't have the right to say my mind. I don't have the right to be free. I don't have the right to do what I want because somebody else tell me what I should think and say and do. That's wrong. For me, that is a no. That's why I draw the line. That's my own personal view about it.
Absolutely. I just want it to be, even if you want to tell your own story off of a real event, like just for an example, like Titanic. So the event and now they have a whole little love story, and oh, I don't care. You can make the movie about the cook. You can make the movie about but at least the actual event happened. Now, if the Titanic, if I came to watch the Titanic and they're like on jet skis and the jet skis like floating, I'm like, dude, what is this? Time out, hold on. So again, I love what he said about his the all of these cultures, Scandinavians and stuff. They always said the Romans, he mentioned, have this myth of coming from Troy after the battle, and just a very, we're not going to go through all of it, but Aeneas, it was much like um Odysseus, where he was traveling through the ocean for years and ended up finding a way to Italy. And he ended up going it's in the Ennead, and I think he marries the Latin, where Latin comes from, is because he married the king's daughter, and the king's name was King Latinus. So now imagine if I just said, I want to change that. I don't want him to be coming from, I want him to come from Spain. I don't want him to land in Italy. I want him to, I like Morocco better. It's the same thing as if they made a United States documentary, and we never did World War II. We never fought in World War II. There was never this or that here. We never had slavery, or like, just keep it consistent. Just keep it consistent.
Yeah, keep it to the truth. If you want to make historical, then keep it to what it is. If you want to base it off somebody's book that wrote it 2,000 years ago, stick to the actual facts of the book. Don't go off and make your own ideas and your own thoughts because you want to inclusively put all the transgenders and all these other people in there, because that's not how it works.
Correct.
But if they want to make a movie about a gay person, they can make it about Chalabalus, the Roman Empire. He was homosexual. He was gay. You can make a movie of him.
There's so many if you want to add Japanese people, there are so many cool samurais and so many cool culinary stuff with sushi. You can make awesome movies. If you wanted to do black movies, there are enough black people that did good stuff that you don't have to make them white people. You don't need to make some fake stuff up. There's enough. Just make a movie based off a person. You don't have to say Cleopatra was black, right? You could just find the Kushite queen and make a movie on her, or someone else that was actually black.
Agreed.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I agree with you. For instance, let's look at Kush, the queen of Kush that fought what's his name, Julius Caesar's follow-up, Augustus. His legions during the war between Egyptus and Kush. They stole his bust and they put it under the steps of the temple, and they stepped on the head of Augustus, and they couldn't let that sacrilege load, and the legions came in, and she basically was the only one that got it right to not be occupied by the Romans. Basically, they made a deal, and she gave back the bust head. Kind of, if they want to make a movie of that, just stick to the historical facts.
And I think it could be a cool movie. It could be an awesome movie, depending on who they get the actors and stuff. It would be awesome. So why do I have to make someone who's Genghis Khan and make him have an afro and he was from Ethiopia? No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Genghis Khan was a Mongol, but if you want to make a movie about Mongols, you just stick with the people that's from that region. You stick to the storyline. You don't change them. I mean, that's the thing. It's like for instance, they want to say, all right, now we're going to make Martin Luther King, as you say, like a white man with blue eyes and blonde hair or something like that. It's ridiculous. It's madness. But okay, they won't never do that. Or make
imagine you go to see a movie and it's about slavery, but all the slaves are white. Everybody would never hear about anything else ever again. They would be talking about it forever. Oh, the injustice! How dare you! How dare you!
Yeah,
that's the same thing that you're doing. That's the same.
Exactly.
You're changing history.
They would be like, "Why'd you pay all these white people to play as slaves when you had plenty of actual descendants of slaves that you could have paid and they could have came up from their ghettos?" Yeah, they'd have made some kind of it. Yeah, look, I want to make a secondary point to what y'all are saying. Like, if you let's say you take Odyssey, right, and you just bring it to a different timeline, to 1989, and it happens in 1989, and you got the big buildings in the city and cars going around and planes flying, but it's happening in that time frame, but kind of roughly staying true to the original core of the story. You just have new age people. He might be wearing a suit going into some campus or some compound or whatever where they're talking together in an auditorium or something. Who knows? That'd be fine too. But yeah, trying to convince me that some short-haired girl is a guy who just because it's a DEI thing, you want to push that ideology on somebody. That's not the way to make movies, or to make good movies that'll make money and be called a classic someday.
And the build of the
I don't think it's
people, like the Odysseus character, he was like normal, like a normal guy. But the woman who played as like the soldier, and even a lot of the other soldiers. So imagine these are supposed to be veterans of the Trojan War, and bro, they look like half my size. I'm 140 pounds. They're like tiny, and I'm like these cannot be the survivors of the Trojan War. They look tiny, dude. Like you got a bunch of freaking adolescent people to play like the most savagest people on earth.
Well, give an example. Ajax was considered a giant in the Odysseys of Homer. He was a massive man with a big massive hammer that basically when he swing he killed two men with one blow, basically right through their shields. So basically according to the story of Homer, he was this massive guy. And I mean, there's Achilles. Achilles was the greatest warrior of all time. He was nimble, he was fast, and he was like 6 foot something tall with blonde hair and blue eyes, and he was a son of a god and everything like that, according to them. And basically, only his heel was the only place where he was vulnerable with, because his mother dipped him in the river Styx and everything like that. So yeah, so if you wanted to go like historically, you have to do the characters must look the part as well. And the Trojans was not small people. I mean, I saw the armor of the Trojans. I thought to myself, is this? Do they wear some? It's like, do they have a tooth advertisement for tooth or something? Teeth, like the people wearing a suit like tooth, like a tooth suit and walking around. It doesn't even look like proper armor. It looks like a card box out cutting or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I wish
it's
we
terrible.
Could pull up I don't know if we can, but if we can pull up the picture of the Agamemnon suit, bro, the Batman suit.
Actually, it's not coming up.
This is
I have it.
incredible, bro.
I have it.
This is incredible.
Actually, funny enough, it is on. I think the last one I gave TC. I think it's on that one where the guy makes the joke of it. Actually, where he has that armor. Actually, you can see it. Actually, physically, the armor of all the. I mean, really ridiculous. It's funny, but
absolutely ridiculous.
It is on there. I got it. Actually, that is coming as well. But that's what I'm talking about. I mean, it's ridiculous. The people don't look the part. They don't look like they're supposed to look like it. It is no, it's terrible. I mean, sorry. I gave the Odyssey out of 10. I give them a 2 out of 10 for entertainment only, entertainment value only, for making me laugh. That's what I give.
Like for historical, I give it a 0 because it's not. I mean, it's not historically correct. But if I'll give it a 1. I'll give it a 1 for historicalness, and then for like a visual or entertainment, I'll give it a 5 because even though it was good, like as far as like the visuals and stuff like that, like I said, you couldn't enjoy it even then because it was so loud. It was not an enjoyable thing. It was over like 2-3 hours, bro. Like 3 hours of sitting there. Like, you guys remember The Ring, or not The Ring, Lord of the Rings? Like, imagine that type of movie, but make the volume 100% more, like times 2 it. And I'm like, dude, this is crazy. So my suggestion is, if you can go for free or something and see it and you're curious, then whatever, go. But I would never go back to see it. And honestly, just save your money. Like, wait for it to come out on the stream site. That way you have control of the volume. You can lower it. You don't have to have it blazing in your ear. So then it might have been more enjoyable. I don't know, but I'm not going to find out. So not going to watch it again.
Or the fascists in Italy taking something historical,
DC.
something mythological, and use it as a way to push a political, propagandistic message that has the foundational purpose of brainwashing. This is why I think it becomes illegitimate what he's doing in the manipulation of the original sources, which is the same thing that they are doing with all sorts of things, and all the race swapping, it's only unidirectional. I'll get back to this, but I'll let him flesh out, because it's possible that I'm kind of misunderstanding the central core point.
And there are other interpretations of it.
Yeah.
Restart his comp really quick because he probably lagged out. No problem.
That's all right.
No, guys, like, again, it's all right if you guys want to go and see it just based off curiosity, then go for it. But, you know, again, the way that movies are these days, and I couldn't imagine. I mean, the drinks are like $6-7. You're going to be paying $30-40 to see a long, loud movie, man. I would just wait for it to come out. Don't go see it, man.
Yeah, that's something I feel is highly important. Audio, even over visual. Like, we could put up with some lower quality visual or whatever to maintain a constant stream or constant, you know what I'm saying, without flickering, tearing, and whatnot. But the audio, you could fall asleep to a good audio movie, even if it's only at like 240p looking, right? That's why podcasts are.
Right, and TC will tell everybody. How long did we stay getting the audio, or just the audio, right before this, TC?
Yeah, I spent about 2.5 hours getting all the minute details in place for this stream to happen.
Sound clear for you guys. We can come back, listen to it. It's not, like I said, that red meter isn't just cutting out and giving static because it's too loud. That type of stuff is important, especially when you expect someone to watch it for 3 hours. Then come on, man.
Speaking of something, real quick question: which stream are you watching that you had to turn down that last time?
I have no.
Are you watching Sud's channel or mine?
I'm watching Suds.
Okay, good, because yeah, he's back.
My network just got out. I'm just getting my stuff back on in line again. I'm just on the other computer. Just give me a second. I'm just starting my computer.
Yeah, we got you. When you come back, you'll be fine.
I don't know what happened. I can't get anything to work at the moment, so something went wrong here on my end. Technical difficulties.
Quick little connection drop. It's all right. It happens.
A little bit on the earphones, yeah. Say again.
Checking. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. All right. I'm just. I'm on the other computer now. I'm just restarting my computer here quickly. Something went wrong. I don't know what. So I'm just restarting the whole thing.
All right. No problem. Well, go ahead. We'll talk amongst ourselves. I'm going to use the bathroom really quick while you're doing that, TC.
Yeah.
All right.
Fill up the space for me, buddy.
I'll do my best. One of my programs have actual commercial for this. I just don't have it transferred over to the other one for Sud's channel.
Well, did something happen? Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like, my network just went down. Luckily, it's working, but it's this on my main computer. Something wrong. Yeah, don't know what went wrong. Yeah, so all right, maybe just start it again.
Yeah, just remember to put your background on and then bring your camera up.
I'm going to do all that now, so I'm going to switch off from this side then when I get on there. Once I get everything back on there again. Luckily for me, I've got a backup PC as well, so.
Well, think about it this way. Since I'm controlling all the streams, we didn't lose our stream. We just had me and KT continue talking about some stuff to keep it going. And while we're waiting on you to come back.
That's what I like about it. That's the way. It's the best way of doing it, actually. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, if y'all are still here with us, leave a like, comment, subscribe. There's 2 different YouTube channels. You can support the podcast individually, because it's one podcast, one group of people working on it, through the links below. But if you don't want to support us monetarily, you just want to watch the show, think about hitting the subscribe button. If you like the topic, don't forget to comment your opinions down below for future talking points, and hit the thumbs up and the bell notification. And we're almost all back. We only have Sud's placeholder for now.
I'll be back in a second, guys. Just give me a minute. I just need to get everything running again.
You're all right. While you're doing that, I'm going to play some of this Metatron or whatever his name is.
Yeah, just finish on. Yeah, just carry on with that.
Did she regret later? Maybe she regretted, maybe she didn't, and if you read the poem of the Iliad, you'll see that there are hints and of what her intentions were. But then there are other traditions and other poems and other stories that will kind of push the interpretation in a certain way.
Okay.
And that's why when people watch the Odyssey movie and say, well, this is not the Odysseus that I would like to see, I wish that they would at least pull back a little bit and rather look at the story itself. And when I talk about interpreting symbolism, I always tell people the first thing you need to do is to look at the inner coherence of something. That is, you have to be careful not to jump out of the movie or the novel or the fairy tale that you're reading, or the Bible story for that matter, and jump out right away. You have to be able to stay inside and look at the decisions that are made, look at the narrative relationships that are there. And then once you kind of master that, then you can start to make analogies to other stories. You can now look back at, like people are doing, to the source materials, because in this case, there isn't just one source. There are many sources for the movie, and see how the inner coherence of the story are connected to the source materials and how they play with that, how they discuss with it, because the idea that the retelling of something is simply supposed to be a copy of the thing that it's
No, there we go. That's fair. That's why I was saying, no, the way he's fleshing it out, very methodic. That's fine. I mean, make sure you study it and analyze it correctly.
Just do that quickly again.
You all right there, Suds?
Before you flip the table is basically the too long didn't read of that. It's fine, and it doesn't need to be a one-to-one copy. That's okay. Once again, though, if you look at the inner coherence, you also have to look at what is the reasons why Hollywood has been doing this for decades only into one direction. And I do not believe for a second, and I want to add this here, just to let it slip very quickly, and then we'll address it if it connects to any of his points. But I've seen people saying, no, Nolan is basically colorblind in his casting. He's choosing the best actor for the role. He's choosing people based on their skills, not their skin.
Yes,
and if
wonderful.
that were true,
sorry about that.
It's an excuse. It's
just
a
had
coping
technical
mechanism. Because if that were
I'm
true,
living in a museum, and
explain to me
unfortunately, this museum
it
says
never
sometimes
happens the other way around.
no signal,
They
and then
never,
you got
modern
an issue.
Hollywood,
But it gets
never
the
race
tissue and the
swaps
issue is sold
any.
out, so sorted out. So finally, I'm back. Goodness, I'm happy about that. So
Yeah,
I can say
you're good. We need to fix your lighting someday, but we'll worry about that.
Asian, African, non-white, with white actors. They only do it because in that point, when it's non-whites, they always say representation matters. You need to respect and praise the Polynesian culture and the African culture and this and that. But when it's whites, it's out for grabs.
And that's exactly what we were talking about, that if you made a movie with the white slaves instead of black slaves, that would be unheard of. But when you're replacing white people in any other scenario, that is an attack on one race, so to speak. I done explained one time about white not being a race, it's a color. But anyway.
Then it's not the skin, it's the skill.
And to
That
me,
tells-
that's more racist than anything. So like it's always ironic that the people who want to pretend like they're so accepting of everybody, if you really start getting them upset and like they'll quickly start coming and you'll be like, oh, okay, like you're actually the problem. You're the one that doesn't care about heritage. You're the one that doesn't care about family and this and that. But on the surface, they care about everybody. They love all people, right? That's right. But in reality, they have a lot of hate.
Exactly, that's what I mean, and that's the whole problem with the whole thing. Is it's all good and well if they want to race swap things, that's fine. They can do it. They can do what they want, but that doesn't mean it's the truth. They can't say this is now truth and this is not based on historical accuracy. Then it's not, because Nolan claim to fame is he made a historically accurate or more or less accurate Odyssey. He didn't, because he race swapped half of it and he put a transgender in there, a female playing a male. He actually, the ghost that's supposed to talk to Odysseus is actually the ghost of Achilles. They just changed the name because they know they're going to get into trouble because she was mean to hell. I don't know if you guys saw those memes about Achilles, and then she comes running up from ice walking by a spear and got killed by that one scene and all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, really, they know they're going to get away with that. So that's why they changed it like that, because they know. He did it to get a Hollywood, basically check all the Vox marks for Hollywood for an Oscar. He just won an Oscar. And quite honestly, I don't think his movie is a success, really. I don't think it is. But that's just my personal point of view and my personal opinion about it. That's just me. But in any case, what is your opinion about it, Turbo? Since on my point of view, I mean, I don't know if you agree with me or not.
I mean, as far as this, the historical part, or Nolan, Nolan saying that his credit, like how he made it Odyssey, absolutely not. You have steel giants walking around in the Bronze Age. Okay, that's like us having the ancient Roman wars, and they have M16s and they have frag grenades. There's helicopters flying around in the middle of like some ancient battle in the 100-Year War. Like, please, I get it. If you want to make a random fantasy stuff, you just don't have to name it the Siege of Carthago. You could just name it some random thing. Name it Star Trek, the Battle for the Stars. And then guess what? No one can say you're historically inaccurate. No one can say there wasn't Asian people there, there wasn't black people there, or white people. You can do whatever you want. But whenever you make it a specific battle, the Battle of Gettysburg, and then they all come out and it's just like Asian people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, I'm sorry. What's going on here?
Make the South. You actually, I've got a good video for Nolan. Make the Confederates all black, and make the Northerners, make the Yanks or the Northerners, make them all Asian. It's a war about the Asian and the blacks. It's going to be like that.
And then you have the nerve to call it the American Civil War.
Exactly.
Accurate and detailed.
You call it war.
No, and then even worse, here's the worst part, right? So you say it's the American Civil War, and you keep the same names of real people who died and suffered, who were white or whatever race, and then you change it. That's disrespectful. That's what we're talking about here. You don't change the Odyssey, Troy. Like, we're talking about a specific person, an Achilles and stuff like that, and you changed it. So again, when you do a documentary on Malcolm X and Martin Luther King or anybody else, Frederick Douglass, imagine what would happen if they came out and it wasn't even a white person. What if it was like just a girl? Like, it doesn't even have, it could be like a black person, but it's a girl. They would still trip shit. And so again, just be consistent, and that's all I'm asking.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, for instance, they also changed. They not just race swap people; they also change it into sexes as well. They make a man a woman. Like, for instance,
Exactly.
I'll give you a good example, which got up my ansias because they make the Queen of Scots, which was clearly a white woman, they made her a black woman, and in England in the Tudor times. Now she's black. The Queen of Scots was black, but she's a family member of. She was the sister of the Queen of England. She was her sister. They were siblings, but she's white and she's black. How does that work?
What was the one? I think me and you watched it together. They released something, and Genghis Khan was like the black woman.
Oh
Do
yes, yeah,
do you remember
yeah.
that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I said to you, yeah, what's next? What's going to be next? He's going to be probably queer as well, or
What came
transgender.
next? The
Yeah,
Odyssey. That's what
yeah.
came next.
But there was, and first it was Cleopatra, then it was Genghis Khan, and now it's the Odyssey. And then there's that World Games as well. I mean, look at that the one that Assassin's Creed with Yosuke, the black samurai, which wasn't even a black samurai, it was a sword retainer, but he was actually just.
Was that a cartoon or is that a movie?
No, no, that was basically based on a game based on an actual person that lived. But they made him first of all. He was a sword retainer. He wasn't a samurai. There's a difference between a sword retainer and a samurai. A sword retainer is he was a slave from Mozambique around there, and he was taken over and he was bought by a priest and he was taken to Japan, and because they were Catholic, then the Catholic was big involved in Japan and stuff, and they never saw a black person before the Japanese. The one lord actually bought him as a slave from the priest. The priest sold him basically to this Japanese warlord or whatever you want to, or shogunate or whatever you want to call it, and he basically served him as a sword retainer. Basically carrying his swords and stuff. But that doesn't say mean he's a samurai. There's a difference between being a samurai and a sword retainer. I mean, they never said he was a samurai, but now they made him in a game as a samurai. But now to top it up, now he's gay as well. He's a gay samurai, gay black samurai. So basically they tick the boxes. He's black, he's gay, and he's... So basically they tick all the boxes, which is historically incorrect. And the woman plays with him, the other one you can play, she's also gay. She's a gay, lesbian, whatever, Japanese girl. I mean, what the hell? I mean, that's why I never played the game. I never bought it. I didn't want to play it. I just didn't care. I mean, I thought to myself, gee whiz, they went too far, yeah. I mean, for me personally, they went too far. I mean, if they kept it to historically correct, it was a sword retainer, and then he basically he wasn't gay, and they kept it to the historically correct, and then they basically goes and kick some ass because they killed his warlord, because they killed his warlord that basically bought him and put him in the house and sort of pick him up. If they made it like that, it's not historically correct then, because he left, he fled. Actually, he didn't stay or something like that. He left. He wasn't. Because he wasn't really a samurai, because a samurai has an honor code. Basically, you take revenge on the death of your master, because otherwise you become a Ronin, basically a masterless samurai. So you have to take revenge of your master's killing, because he was assassinated. So, yeah, so, you know, they don't know anything about Japanese culture, so they basically stuffed it up. And it's a nightmare. I mean, TC is much more known on Japanese culture. I'm not that clued up on Japanese culture. So TC can tell us more about Japanese culture because he knows it. He loves his anime. I like anime too, but he's very into his anime and stuff, which is brilliant. And yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to appropriate a culture, just stick to the culture's history and their norms and their customs and stuff. Don't change things to it.
Please, let me say something. One last thing about the culture of appropriation, right? Braids. I don't know where people get this misconception that braids only came from Africa. Dude, the Vikings had braids. People had braids before that weren't from African descent. So I don't know. I just feel like I have to say this because this is like I hear it a lot, especially with women. They're like, you can't have braids as an Asian woman with straight hair or a white woman with blonde hair or something, because that's a culture appropriation. You're trying to pretend to be Puerto Rican or black or whatever it is, right? And dude, the way that you do your hair, it has absolutely, like, again, it's something that it's completely ridiculous. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
So what they're going to call? Sorry, TC, it's okay. Sorry.
I was just going to add to that. They would have to get on to me because from the time that my hair grew long enough. I've had a French braid Native American haircut, and I still have that same one today. I just have nobody to French braid it for me anymore, and I hate doing it myself. But yeah, the braiding thing, and I'm almost positive this is not historical accurate, but it probably will be figured out to be. But I'm sure the Vikings at one time rode over, in the 0 BC to 1000 AC era, met the Native Americans, and they probably that's where they got their braiding from. But probably, but think about it. Just women sitting at home. The Native American, the woman owned the home, right? The man went out and did his thing, hunting and brought the stuff in. The women actually took the animals apart and did that. On their downtime, they were probably braiding not only their young sons but their daughters' hairs, just as a pastime. The familiarity part of it, right? Of the community. So whether or not someone introduced it to them or not, it's just a pastime of people, interacting with
Yeah,
each other. So
true.
Uh,
But the Vikings, in any case, by history, Redbeard or whatever is I think it was called William the Red or something like that. He was a Viking. He discovered Greenland and he discovered northern Canada. That's America. Northern Canada. There was what's it? Nova Scotia or something. They had a settlement there, if only for a short period of time.
Leif Erikson. Leif Erikson. He was supposedly the first Viking, right? There could have been people before him, but that was just because it was actually recorded, and that's why whenever again you go to genetics and you look at like Native Americans when Christopher Columbus came out here 1776, they're saying they see Native Americans have blue eyes. Blue eyes are not from there had to be I completely agree with what TC just said. There had to be some mixing of
It
cultures,
was.
race,
It was.
ideology. And then the other thing is that people say, well, the Native Americans didn't have the idea to be able to braid. That's a lie. Native Americans, they weaved baskets, they weaved all kinds of stuff. So you mean to tell me they can weave a whole basket as a book bag, but they can't weave their hair in the same form and make like different
and
it's just crazy.
just to let you know, in that weaving part, we weave not only the bark of certain plants to make rope, but we also weave leather from the buffalo and other animals to make the tents that they lived in. Uh, so to not transfer that to a hairstyle that puts your hair out of the way so that you can go hunting and not die from hunting these buffaloes, I think people misunderstand how big a buffalo is. It's like when they first see a moose, they're like, "Oh, that's a moose! Oh my god! I thought it would be like a deer or something." And they're like, "No, it's like an 18-wheeler. It's huge." Buffaloes are the same way. Once you get near just one, unless millions in one herd running by you, millions of them, just one of them. I live near a reserve that has them. You can see them on the side of the road, and they're about 40 yards away, and they look like a cow when you're up close to a cow. So you can imagine how big they are if you're standing next to them. But anyways, yeah.
No, they're huge. But it's like so like for instance, like I was born in Africa, grew up in Africa. Like I'm an Afrikaner, I'm a Boer, I'm from Africa and stuff. And my people we call ourselves the white tribe of Africa. Now they say that you're not a white tribe because your ancestors came from Europe. Yes, they came 600 years from Europe, 500, 600 years, 1500s, 1400s. They came to Africa. We start our own unique culture, our own unique language, and our own unique thing that's not European at all. At all. This far from European. We basically have our own unique culture, our own unique way of doing things. But people say, no, but you're not true this, you're not true that. So if that is the case, I am not true African and I don't belong in Africa. Why do I have a problem to get residency in Britain or anywhere in Europe? If you understand what I'm saying. They don't want me.
Again, it's one of those things where you're just living in denial because if your ancestors have been there for 600 years, that would be like the same thing as them. They're going to tell me and TC, you're not from America. You're not a true American. That's not even real. Yeah, it has been, even though it hasn't been thousands to 3,000 years. So what? It doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be. But I mean, for a culture to become something different, it only takes a couple of generations. I mean, America, you guys in America have a unique own culture. Even though you're a bunch of different group of people, you have one similar culture. You like your barbecues, you like your outdoor life, you like your guns, you like your. That's a culture. They can say to me what they want, but that's the culture. You like your guns, you like your freedom, you like your speech, you like your outdoor living, you like your beers, you like your pickup trucks, you like your outdoor lifestyles and stuff like that, and you like what you like, and you guys are very proud of it, and there's nothing wrong with it. You love your flag, you're proud of your flag, you're proud of your military, you're proud of your what you could accomplish in life. I mean, and you did it in 250 years. I mean, that's remarkable. That's great, man. In 250 years, you became a different kind of people. You're not Europeans. You are Americans. No matter if you're white or black or Puerto Rican or Spanish or Native American or whatever you want to call yourself, you are American. You speak American, you live American culture. Your cultures might intertwine with each other because a lot of things that the white people do there as well, subconsciously they do Native American things as well. They don't think it. They don't think they do it, but they do. They do the similar sort of lifestyle. They live this that outdoor freedom lifestyle. That it comes from the Native Americans. They can say what they want, but it's a truth. It's a fact. And some of the things they say, and some of the sayings, and some of the things they do are derived from Native Americans because they adapt things. That's what people do when they come to a new place. They adapt the culture stuff as well. They take from that culture as well and inherit it into them and make something new. That's why America is unique. You're a unique people with a unique culture. You've got different type of color people in there, but you're all the same in the sense of culture. You are American. You have American culture, American way of.
Yeah,
That's how I see it.
that's why we called it the melting pot of America or the West. It melts together. It doesn't stay its own little piece of cheese over here, not melted into the rest of the pot. No, it melts into the pot. You gain that baseline culture of understanding what the Constitution means, that God gave us these inalienable rights to live comfortably and not harass others. And we just we roll with that. It's okay. Like I believe the Native Americans and the Mexicans, the original ones before Spain came over and made mestizos and other types. But anyways, I believe those two cultures are almost the same, even if DNA shows they're completely different. But the culture where they interacted with each other in Texas area uh, was literally a joining of two people. I think even to this day, like besides Louisiana food, Mexican food and Texas food are some of the perfect combination foods that you can ever get. You wanted two different, cultures, so to speak, brought together on a one plate. That would be Tex-Mex, like literally.
Yep.
You know,
I love that because that like just to piggyback off what you said as far as the melting, like the melting pot. Yeah, we even though we have differences between our cultures, we blend it together. And so you'll go to a place, I'll see black people in the sushi bar. I'll see Asian people getting Taco Tuesdays at the Mexican place. You'll see white people deep in KFC getting soul food, getting black, dishes and all kinds of stuff. And that's what it's about. That's what makes us a distinct, separate identity is we have pretty much enveloped include like we got a little bit of everything.
We celebrate.
South, they're gonna cook different, they're gonna talk different. You're gonna meet a Cajun person from Louisiana, you might not know what he says, like especially if he talks quick, and you're from the north, you probably might not know what he says. And then even from the east and west, people in California and Arizona and Las Vegas, completely different from people like me in North Carolina or Virginia, New York. So our country's very big. Our country's huge. If you just get the state of Texas, is bigger than several countries combined, let alone Alaska, let alone the whole US, So people have to put it in perspective. I think they think like, oh, it's just a country. Like, yeah, it's just the United States. We're massive. We are a big ass country, dude.
Yeah, well,
You
if
know,
you
we
look
have
at the map,
territories too: Guam, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands. So it's actually even bigger than what people I think that they think.
and you got Alaska as well. Remember, you bought Alaska from Russia
Yeah.
for $4 million from
Yep.
from the Russians. But I mean, it's a huge territory. But I mean, Alaskans are different than the people from Texas. They got their own culture, but they are American culture as well because they also got that inherited. So, but they have their own way of doing things over there. They got more like an outdoor, like living in the cold weather sort of thing. Hunting, it's more hunting there, or that sort of lifestyle and stuff. And then you go to Texas, where my friend Mr. TC lives, where you got like all those ranches there. I mean, if I see America, and if I, I don't know if you know about the soap that came out in the 80s, Dallas,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
thing
Yeah.
with J.R. Ewing and Bobby Ewing, the Ewings and Cliff Barnes and all those people. Now I grew up with it in the 80s, and I mean, if I see Texas, if you talk to me about Texas, then I see that scene in myself, Southwark Farm Ranch with this very fancy Mercedes-Benz car with this the phone in the car. Then it was fancy, the phone in the cars and stuff. But this sort of lifestyle of these people living like in this massive ranch with all these cattle and cowboys and you know what I mean, Native Americans and cowboys living together, working on this farm and the oil industry, the oil wells, and all this sort of that sort of thing. That's the sort of thing comes up in my mind. Cowboys and that sort of lifestyle with guns strapped to their belts and things like that. That sort of thing. That's what I get the idea of. Typical Texan culture with steaks and barbecues and outdoor life and cowboy hats. You know what I'm talking about, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
And then if I see the New York and that sort of thing, then I get a typical idea of people living in cramped spaces, and it's not a very clean city, but it's cramped spaces, but everybody's there and everybody's miserable, sort of thing. That's the idea I get of New York. It's not like a place where you can be happy. It's like you're stuck in this concrete jungle. It's a concrete jungle. But if you go more to the south, you get like Mississippi. If I think of Mississippi and that places, I think of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. That sort of period.
Yeah.
That for because I read the books. I'm just saying that's what I get from America.
Yeah.
But it's all different but similar.
Well, that's what we do here. We celebrate each other. That's what we do here. And like that, finish the melting pot analogy. When something is heated up, the bad materials float to the top. We skim them off, and what's left is some great French onion soup. You know what I'm saying? And that's how. And we celebrate the French onion soup. We just skim the top off. We don't care about the bad stuff that was in our culture back in the day, because we're just taking that away, and we start celebrating the good stuff. And that's what makes the best French onion soup in this melting pot of America. And that's what we expect people when they come here to live here to do. Get rid of the bad stuff. So we don't care if you're Muslim, even though that's a fake book altogether, no historical accuracy whatsoever in it. But if you take away the bad stuff of the Muslim things that y'all are talking about, and come over here and just live a good life, you'd be all right. We wouldn't have a problem like we do today. We wouldn't have a Montdami as a mayor and be fighting against him. So anyways, yeah.
Gotta respect people. You gotta respect people. I don't care if it's a person that's Chinese and they speak Mandarin and they Confucianism, or if you're a Jewish person, or if you're atheist, or if you're a Muslim. It's only when you come and you want to force your ideals and say, I came to your country, I want you guys to think how I think. If you think that I would go to Pakistan and they expect everybody now to, you have to conform what I believe. If you think I could go to Saudi Arabia or Japan or anywhere, it's nonsense to believe that just because you're in a new place, that they're supposed to somehow like change their customs and their traditions to fit you and make you feel comfortable and make you feel okay, make sure you feel comfortable. Like, It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
Americans, as lenient as we are, we don't like disrespect. We don't want people to come in here, destroy everything, burn shit up. We don't even tolerate that with other Americans. When we see like BLM Lives Matters or all of these Antifa groups go destroy our cities, Americans say, no, we're not. We don't want these type of people here. So now think. We have the same language that we grew up together, and we're not going to tolerate that from our own people. Let alone you're going to come from Timbuktu in Afghanistan and shit, and then we're all just going to bend over backwards and let you do something to us.
Especially since we just kind of destroyed, made illegal, especially pedophilia. And they want to bring that back, and they think that's a tax on us as dhimmis, lower class people for their religion. Like that's part of that skimming off the top. You need to leave that behind, grow up, and understand that if you can't handle a full-grown woman and convince her to marry you, you don't need to buy one while they're still in the womb. Muhammad was a piece of shit, plain and simple. He couldn't put up with adult women, and you could tell that by his own books, right? Like he ignored every woman once they got to a certain age, and he just married a new young one, because he couldn't handle women. And so if you can't handle women, oh well, that's your fault. Don't go steal a little girl or a little boy out the womb, thinking you can do that shit. That's not here in America. We don't do that here. And
that's any religion. You don't.
Yeah.
Even if you say you're, like I said, if you say you're an atheist, but you still subscribe to that, then no, we don't. That's not what we're going for. So again, cultures. What Sud said, cultures have identity. We've got rid of some stuff. We've adapted a lot of stuff, but all of us have came to the final conclusion that there are certain activities and practices that we don't want to practice. We don't want to be like that. And so again, you try to respect everybody until they come piss on your lawn in the front. Then you say, why you come on to my house to take a shit?
Exactly my point as well. Now, give you an example now to come back to the Odyssey. What they did was they took away Greek culture, Greek ideas, and Greek things, and Greek way of thinking, and Greek way of people, and they changed it. Now, for me, that's disrespectful. Nolan disrespect the Greek culture. He disrespect the Greek people. He disrespect their history. And I mean, they got an older culture than he even can think of. They got one of the oldest cultures in the world, next to the Chinese. They're thousands of years old. Now, who is Mr. Nolan? Even though he's Mr. Hollywood's favorite director, who the hell does he think he is to come and change the 3,000, 4,000-year-old culture and then make it something else? I mean, who gives him the right to do it and change the things on that?
I personally think some of the best directors that ever came out of Hollywood were all named Mel.
Mel Gibson, yeah.
Mel Gibson, but Mel Brooks is the first one that comes to mind, but Mel Gibson is second, yes.
Yeah, Mel Gibson, he makes good movies. Actually, funny enough, I heard the rumor tells me Elon Musk has given him a lot of money to remake the Odyssey. Profit.
Yeah, that's, from as far as I could tell, a real thing.
So he gave him money.
That would be interesting.
So he's going to make it like the way it should be. And I think I heard it also tell me, the bird tells me, they're going to speak in proper Greek, the Greek language.
That's what I'd like. I'd like a passion and do any of the ancient Greek. It could be Odyssey or whatever, any of them, but do it in the original language like the Passion of Christ was done in. I love that movie. That was,
read it.
Yeah,
or
hear it.
I'm gonna read it. Well, we don't care. Read it. Read the subtitles. I don't know if it's like the anime thing, go TC, because like I've watched anime too, and I like it in the Japanese, and then they got the English subtitles and stuff on the bottom, just because their like emotions seems like so much more like real, or like you listen to Telemundo from like Spanish, and like whenever they actually hit a goal, they're like goal. Like
Oh,
I love other places because it's like so authentic. I don't want to see ancient Greek style in like modern English.
well, it's like if they make a movie like a typical English movie, like the Battle of Agincourt. They should do it in Old English. Old English doesn't sound the
That would
way
be awesome.
like a modern English sounds like. And the Battle of Agincourt was basically won by longbows against French knights. But they should make a movie in Old English, but the way it was spoken, and Old French, because it sounds different than today's French and English. It doesn't sound the same. There is a big difference between the two. There's sort of like a, how can I say, Old English is like, it's a funny way to spoke. I mean, if you ever read what's his name, A Midsummer's Night's Dream in the original English of and King Henry and all that from what's his name, William Shakespeare, you'll find like it's a foreign language altogether. It's a funny English but that's the original English. It is.
Yeah.
It sounds different. It's weird to understand it sometimes, but I kind of find it interesting. And I mean, if you go a bit further back, it sounds even, if you go to the time of the Middle Age, 1100s, Old English sound even more different than the
Yeah.
English of
Yeah.
William
I mean,
Shakespeare.
a good way to see is you read the Bible, KJV, and thou shall not, and like just like small words like that. You can still understand it if someone was said it, but you would kind of be like, wait, what? But it would be cool to see an original film based back then where they're not talking like I am right now, and he is like talking in that type of form, just because I feel like, again, it would just be refreshing. Let me get an actual Native American movie where they were speaking what their actual dialects were.
Dances with Wolves.
Exactly. That's so refreshing. And when you do the film like that, I know it takes a little longer. I know you got to get your actors to like learn the lines and stuff, but at the end it never ages. So you can watch some of these movies now.
Yeah.
20 years, 30 years later, it doesn't matter. Whereas you make these new ones and you kind of do it quick and you put the effects and blah, 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 blah. We'll get any actor. Who cares? In 2 years from now, no one's going to be talking about this shit.
No, that's the thing, and I will look forward to if they're gonna bring, if they're definitely gonna make it, and it's in the original Greek, the ancient Greek, the old Greek, not the modern Greek, the ancient Greek, and he's going to use apparently Greek actors to play it as well, which is going to be awesome because it's going to be real Greek actors, so they're going to play the whole culture. I will go and watch it, even if it's in Greek. If they put like the subtitles underneath there, I'll go watch it. That's my personal opinion. But let's go further on basically and watch this one. And I think TC, we can watch the other one with the armor pit. I think it's the.
All right. Let me tell you this. We are at an hour and 51 minutes in, which means we have an hour and 8 minutes left. 3 hours is typically the maximum that you want to run on for YouTube.
I think run the last one that I gave you, the last one I said play the last one that we can.
Well, just to let you know, we're only 17 minutes into an hour and 49-minute first clips of Jonathan here.
Oh shit! So hold on, we won't be able to make both of them. What do you guys want to do?
I think we're going to go to the last one. I think because we can watch, because the last one gives a bit of an brings up the armor bit because it shows the armor, which I want
Batman, yeah, we have to get the Batman, dude. You got to show the Batman armor, bro. But I like this video because the review of the review. This guy is actually a historian. He actually knows the information and he studied a lot of it. So it's good whenever you can see someone who's actually educated also be able to give a review on something that's supposed to be historical.
Well, he's actually he was actually at the University of Rome. He's got his degree in basically historical cultures like Roman, Latin. He speaks Latin. I think he speaks fluent Japanese as well. Latin, Japanese, and Greek, I think. Those three languages. He's actually a well-learned man. The Metro.
Nice.
And I can actually, I will have a link on the channel for his channel, guys. I don't know if TC can do that or not.
Yes. On just in my description down below on my channel, homepage, YouTube channel. All the videos that we are planning to use are linked in the description below. I will pass them over once I can finish this up. So before the video, well, right after the video's finished, I will go in and fix the description on Stud's channel.
And you guys can go watch all of them. I mean, they are too long to basically go through them completely. But this one is all right. The last one, I think, is going to be a bit more fun. It's a bit more humoristic. And I think you guys are going to have a bit more fun when we notch off the last hour or so with a bit of fun. Let's start it. Let's see what this guy has to say. That's quite funny. Let's get on with it. Let's see what
I'm going to post the shit here,
dialogue.
Give me the meat.
in there. So
And give it to me at all.
Abhorrent acting.
There's a tempest in me. I think it's important to know the facts about tampons, to use them intelligently, and to know what you're doing.
A horrific disregard for the source material, its
All right, if you
plot,
want to
and
play
its
that,
themes.
please see it. Here we go.
This is Rings of Power Season 3. No, wait, that's the wrong script. Absurd casting.
We're Greeks from Ithaca.
Oh,
The clearest view of a man is from below.
abhorrent acting.
The stories are true. Our civilization is collapsing.
And without me, the throne will be lost.
Because only a man can sit on it.
A horrific disregard for the source material, its plot, and its themes. This is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. I did not go into The Odyssey expecting to despise it. Across many podcasts, I've said I think it'll perform decently well. I've not gone particularly hard on this nonsense, because I prefer to laugh at the absurdities of the world. I even defended the anachronistic weaponry and armor we saw in the first set of trailers. I did this on the grounds that every writer and orator in history, including those we call Homer, updated their details for the modern audience of their day. Not even in the earliest versions of the Odyssey on record are the characters described as using weapons that belong to the time the tale was set. Most use weapons familiar to the time the tale was told. Nolan, in this one respect, was being Homeric. But one of the remarkable things about poems surviving through the oral tradition and into the written word is how little their fundamentals change. Translators have added and removed words and phrases over the millennia. Alexander Pope, writing in 1725, produced a version entirely in rhyming couplets, over 10,000 lines, and every pair has to end in a rhyme. It was a task so difficult and generally annoying that he secretly paid 2 other people to complete the work for him, and then passed it off as his own, making him only marginally less of a plagiarist than the quartering. Robert Fagles wrote his much-loved translation in free verse, no rhyme scheme, no set line length, inheriting a lot of Victorian poetic exaggeration. His goal was to make prose as poetic and romantic as possible, even at the expense, sometimes, of strict accuracy to the original wording. Daniel Mendelssohn recently produced a version that attempts to preserve the feel of the ancient Greek dactylic hexameter, a form that's extremely difficult to pull off in the English language, because the Greeks were too busy shagging boys to shag the British.
Odysseus,
Athena,
Telemachus,
Calypso, Penelope,
Menelaus,
and Helen of Troy.
we could be Homer. The way we go over.
The story in 6 feet.
Call it hexameter.
Call it whatever.
So long as it's this beat.
Damn, I hate when you're right.
Emily Wilson, of whom we might say a little more later, produced her controversial modernist translation entirely in conventional iambic pentameter, the most common meter in English poetry, and using strictly understated language. These all read very differently. They stand in a tradition going back almost 3,000 years. Yet for all that time, for all these translations, for all their different sensibilities and aims, the actual story of the Odyssey, its characters, its lessons, its core themes of duty, honor, and sacrifice has barely changed. It's a remarkably well-preserved tale, as befitting one of the foundational texts of the Western world itself. Until Hollywood. Until Christopher Nolan. For Christopher Nolan has borrowed the name of the Odyssey, has borrowed the names of its characters, and put them to a story that bears almost no other resemblance to the work whose valor he is stealing. I am not exaggerating when I say that the Odyssey is about as faithful an adaptation as Rings of Power. be less faithful because Nolan is a clever man, and the writers of that show chew through more crayons than they write with. Nolan knows exactly what he's doing. He's turning the Odyssey into a typical boomer mythology. His Odyssey is not an adaptation from the Greek. It is a bog-standard Vietnam War film. Not a good Vietnam War film either. Not a Platoon, no relation. No clever dialogue, no evocative soundtrack, no real emotion, no fantastic action set pieces. This is Nolan at his most sterile. All of the essential ingredients are there. As with just about every Nolan film from the last 20 years, the protagonist is haunted by the specter of a great wrong in his past. He is traumatized by it. He spends his time wondering whether redemption is truly possible and whether he and humanity truly deserve it. He finally surrenders to forces beyond his control, and in this surrender he finds exile, and in exile he finds peace. As in your typical Vietnam-based boomer mythos, the protagonist goes to war because he believes it is his duty. He witnesses grave crimes and participates in the loss of innocence. He interacts with draft dodgers, the poor kids sent in their place. You can almost hear Creedence Clearwater Revival in the background of these scenes. Having utterly lost faith in the virtues of the war, he loses faith in himself and in civilization itself. He does not want to go home and face the consequences of his deeds. He winds up in therapy, he gets addicted to opioids as he works through his trauma. He reemerges into a broken world, and in the culmination of the boomer cycle, he fucks off into the sunset with his wealthy wife, leaving his kid to bear the consequences. Portrayed as a good and noble thing.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
If you've been mortally wounded returning from the sack of Troy and you're in need of medical assistance, do not take mysterious herbs from some watery tart on a beach. Check out today's sponsor, ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free online marketplace where you can search, compare, and book appointments with more.
Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Whatever this is, then, it is not the Odyssey. Whoever the protagonist is, he is not Odysseus. There is no world, no adaptation where these words can come from Odysseus's mouth.
Told you what you most want is what you most can't have. And it told me I don't really want to go home.
That is the opening statement of the argument from adaptation. It's as faithful to its source as your average upstart congressional candidate is to his partner. But the Odyssey does not even have the decency to be a particularly good film on its own terms either. It has some of the worst dialogue in any Nolan film, which is really saying something because the dialogue in Nolan films is often terrible.
I ordered my hot sauce an hour ago.
To the extent you can hear it at all. Most of the actors deliver lines like they're reading them for the first time, having been given no direction whatsoever. I'm not exaggerating either when I say that the Odyssey contains career worst performances from Tom Holland and Anne Hathaway. Zendaya's job is to scowl as usual. John Bernthal is playing the Punisher if the Punisher had tried out for an amateur dramatic society. Matt Damon as Odysseus is just there. The deliberately muted emotional performance gives you nothing to latch onto, and what little there is by way of action leaves you wondering what happened to his knees. Probably the only two actors emerging with any kind of credit are Robert Pattinson, who recognizes that his lines are shit and acts like a fittingly shitty person, and John Leguizamo, whose commitment to righting the wrongs of underrepresentation extends to stealing a job from a Greek.
What's been your Odyssey in terms of fighting for your identity or your Hollywood career?
Well, it's always been a battle. I mean, Hollywood is not the most accepting place, even though we Latin people are 30 to 40% of the box office and a third of streamers. We're still not represented. We're the most underrepresented, aggressively underrepresented group in America. So that's been my odyssey, to try to bring some parity.
You see, he pretends to be indigenous, but he's descended from conquistadors, and he shows about as much regard for the indigenous as they did. Everybody else is either just there or not there at all.
So, Homer, how do you feel about this screen time given to these women, considering how little you spend?
There is a delicious irony here, not in the idea that Homer should have given more screen time to women 3,000 years before the invention of screens, but in this. Nolan has cut the gods almost entirely from his telling, and in so doing has given less screen time power and agency to women than Homer himself did. The Odyssey without the gods is an absurd concept on its face, but it speaks to Nolan's incoherent approach to the movie. With a capriciousness to rival Zeus, entire planks of the narrative have been removed in the name of grounded realism, the gods first amongst them. Athena, their sole representative in the film, is a frowning, drug-induced PTSD regret vision, which now I think about it is a pretty apt description of Zendaya. Ludwig Göransson, doing the score for this movie, was forbidden by Nolan from using an orchestra, because Nolan said the Greeks didn't have those, despite orchestra being a Greek word. But then
I gotta say, this guy's going hardcore on these people. Oh.
In a great many areas, distinctly modern fantasy remains. Göransson got around the orchestra prohibition by using electronic instruments, which the Greeks didn't have either. Odysseus follows Darth Vader into battle, sails a Viking longship to meet giants in plate armor. His
but
men
that's so
pull
true,
from
because
everywhere
orchestra
except
is a
the
Greek word for
Mediterranean,
meaning
claim
lots
to
of instruments, but it's so...
That's what's so funny about it. It's like, I guess it's Nolan Ryan or Ryan Nolan. I don't know what his name is. I guess this guy doesn't.
Darth Vader. He says follows Darth Vader.
I'm assuming that he was born after 2005. No later than 2000 for him to think this way, that this would be okay or come out decent or something.
You just missed that part, Turbo. He called him not Batman. He called him Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
Yeah, you call him Darth Vader. That's brilliant. You can just go back there and just play that section there, follow Darth Vader, because that's funny. That is so funny.
The regret vision, which now I think about it is a pretty apt description of Zendaya. Ludwig Göransson, doing the score for this movie, was forbidden by Nolan from using an orchestra, because Nolan said the Greeks didn't have those, despite orchestra being a Greek word. But then, in a great many areas, distinctly modern fantasy remains. Göransson got around the orchestra prohibition by using electronic instruments, which the Greeks didn't have either. Odysseus follows Darth Vader into battle, sails a Viking longship to meet giants in plate armor. His men, pulled from everywhere except the Mediterranean, claim to be Greek. Judging by Helen, Troy was located somewhere south of the Congo. I don't care what they tell you in school, Helen of Troy was black. Much of the armor is made of cardboard, which wasn't invented until 1817. Everybody speaks American, which the British invented in 1607, and the list goes on. It is, in almost every conceivable aspect, a mess. And unlike the movie's very vocal fans, I am now going to substantiate my claims. I am going to do so
somewhere south of the Congo is insane,
yo. Politics, or the perceived politics of the film. One of the biggest bugbears with the reception to this movie has been how everybody only discusses it in those terms. I am going to be discussing it first and foremost as an adaptation and as a film. To the extent any comment is going to be made on casting, it will be a joke, or it will be in reference to the fact that nobody else discusses anything else. Let's begin. The tale is opened by a rapist. Nolan claims that rapists are the closest modern ancestors of the ancient Greek poets, as if Aeschylus went around popping caps in people's asses, and every second word of the Oresteia had a hard R. For some reason, the movie then borrows a scene from The Hobbit.
Mr. Bilbo, where are you off to? I'm going on an adventure!
This is Sinon in the Odyssey. Of the surviving classical texts, Sinon's first appearance is in the Aeneid, almost 1,000 years later. The Aeneid's Sinon was a clever Greek spy, which doesn't require much physical stature, but in Nolan's, we're expected to believe that this is a warrior. I refuse to believe you lasted through a decade of war, and given you're Greek, I refuse to believe it's the first time you've been impaled. This then is the Trojan horse, which the Trojans duly take back to their city because it is a gift to their common gods. I think it's far too ornate. It would have taken far too long to make, but it makes for a cool popcorn bucket, I guess. Cinema. Isn't it wonderful? Back we go to Ithaca, and Penelope emerges from behind her screen to command that the rappist stop his rapping, because she does not want to hear this song. Here we see the hall and all its suitors abusing the hospitality of the household, vying for Penelope's hand, and bullying her useless son Telemachus. I might occasionally slip, by the way, and call him Telemachus. It's not natural to us, so if I do slip, don't, actually me in the comments, because, I'm gonna slap you, like I'm some sort of rapist. Here also, you get a good and terrible sense of how bad the dialogue is going to be.
I want to remind them of whose wine they're drinking. I want Odysseus. Then why do you entertain suitors in his house? A man does what he chooses. I do what I can. I am a man. Now, Mom. Break Zeus's law and see what they do to you if you give them that excuse. I've already lost a husband. I don't want to lose a son. Dad's coming back. And where is he?
This is all very useful information to the audience, albeit delivered in the most boring way imaginable. But as Penelope has just told us, it's been this way for years. Why are they speaking as though the suitors are a new phenomenon? Why are we pretending Telemachus doesn't already know the answers to these questions? Then we meet Robert Pattinson's Antinous, foremost of the suitors, who has some more wonderful dialogue for us.
We've only enjoyed your hospitality for so long. Because your mother won't choose.
She's already married.
Odysseus is dead.
What do you know about my dad?
Never came home.
Not yet.
You're pining for a daddy you didn't even know. Like some sniveling bastard.
This is it. This is the dialogue in the whole movie. Emily Wilson has copped a lot of flack for her translation, principally from people who've never read it. Nolan lauded her version in particular, but one of the many things I want you to take away from this video is that whatever the faults in her translation, she is not responsible for this movie. She has in fact criticized this movie publicly, which we shall return to in due course. Her version, which strips so much of the poetry from the poem, is much more poetic than this. And where the real damage is done, to the story, to the characters, and to the themes, it is done by Nolan exclusively. She had nothing to do with it. The Wilson translation is incomparably more faithful to the source material than this film is going to be. The Nolan cult persists with the bizarre belief that he is the platonic form of an artist. The man cannot write dialogue for shit. They sustain their belief by visiting his temple, the IMAX, and paying very expensive tribute, while pretending that paying a premium to watch the movie in a square is better than watching it in a rectangle, because you see more of the grey sky above the actors' boring heads. I don't know how to tell them this, because I'm not sure they're capable of entertaining complex thoughts, but the square does not make the dialogue better, guys. The square doesn't improve the plot, it doesn't create characters where none exist. It doesn't solve the perversion of the themes.
But I did know him. I tried to volunteer for his expedition to Troy. He told me to stay here and keep an eye on you.
On me or my mother?
You can't.
I like how he's got the book that says how to avoid copyright on YouTube.
Blame me for lucky.
My dad is coming home.
Stop saying that!
And his hospitality won't be as generous as hers.
So he doesn't follow Zeus's law then?
Zeus's law tells us to treat strangers as we be treated because they might be gods in disguise. I think we've established, Antinous, that you are not a god.
But the thing is, as well, is if you look at this whole thing from the point of the film, he's actually telling the truth. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, he's going hard on him. And what he's showing is pretty much backing up what he's saying. It like you said, I've never seen it. I'll never see this movie particularly.
Relays a story Telemachus should already know is because the movie is setting up
you're quite right. It's what is your take so far on this guy's take on the Odyssey. Do you agree with him? Do you like this?
Oh no, I like it. It's a great perspective. Again, I like to hear other people's perspectives, especially when they already know about the story and whatnot. So it's good to see. I forgot who the last guy was, but he was good too. Both of them are enjoyable. I like them, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong.
He is a draft-dodging liar. It's just not very subtle about it. And the reason Telemachus tells Antinous what Zeus's law means, despite everybody already knowing it in this universe, is because the movie is going to rest basically its entire plot on Zeus's law.
I like him.
Shapiro, who in this respect
It's a good
is
person.
an idiot,
He has a lot of information.
Yeah, don't forget to check out the description below for these videos. Go subscribe to them, support the channel.
Such thing as Zeus's
I already
law.
posted it in Sud's chat. I'm getting this one right now, and I'm going to post it right
Many
now.
ancient cultures had an equivalent of it. Guest rights are found from the Greeks to the Norse to the Old English. Do not harm guests in your house. Shapiro gets understandably confused, though, because Nolan has deliberately changed the meaning. And by changed, I mean he's expanded it into an equivalent of the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Crucially, Nolan's Odyssey applies this rule to everything, to war as well as to hosting your guests. It's akin to saying that taking your shoes off in the house means that you should fight every war barefoot, much as casting trans, black, disabled quadriplegics is enough to win you the adulation of those who only engage with movies through a left-wing political lens.
Sometimes, when you meet the actual people, I mean, I know this is what they think people like me think, so I hate thinking it, but I just find myself thinking they're from a different fucking species, with their t-shirts and weird trousers and tails.
TC, I can't hear anything on your video, by the way.
Writing on? And why are they so fucking...
What's that?
I just came back to your YouTube on the live, and I was copying and pasting those links so I can put them on Sud's page. I can't hear anything.
That's fine. Worst case scenario, I can take the 2 recordings, take the one with all the sound and replace it with the other.
Cool. I still hear it on Sud, so either way, we got it.
Which is crazy because on Sud's Prism stream, it shows everything grayed out. And on my OBS stream, which goes to my channels, everything is running perfectly, according to how it's supposed to be. So I don't know what's going on here. Can you hear the video, or is it completely silent?
I hear you talking. I don't hear the video.
Oh, give me a second. I'm going to continue playing this while I mess around.
Fat.
So gesturing vaguely at a Christian moral lesson is sufficient to earn you a bunch of conservative defenders. The fact this breaks the entire story doesn't seem to bother them much, any more than the incoherently selfish end to the movie is going to bother them. We are the upholders of Western civilization and all its traditions, they say, but it's fine that we butcher the Odyssey because my modern politics agrees with it. A plague on both your houses. The next day finds Telemachus training atop a cliff, watched over by the aging and nearly blind Eumaeus, old servant of Odysseus, who teaches him a fighting move with which he can beat his teacher, Mentor.
Oh no, I can't even hear me or Sud on yours. But it's okay, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out later.
Let's finish this up on Sud. It's the only move Telemachus is going to learn in the entire film. As will become clear, you could actually cut all the Telemachus scenes out of this film, and you would lose nothing meaningful of the story. His job is to go to a couple of NPCs and trigger a couple of expository cutscenes, and this prepares him to be king. Case in point, he takes a break from the fight to ask where Odysseus got his dog Argos, as if he's never asked this before, despite having nearly 20 years in which to do so. Eumaeus narrates the origin in the flashback. It gives us one of the few genuinely ancient moments in the entire film, as we see Eumaeus casually throwing a puppy off a cliff.
Can you pause it really quick? Because I just want to say one thing about that part. I just want to say one thing about that part. What he says is actually so correct just because the son has like kinds of dialogue. He's talking to the mom, he's talking to random people. There's a part with him with the dog. He's like thinking about his father because it was Odysseus's dog. And dude, all together it may have been like 45 minutes like of the 3 hours. And so yeah, I do think that if you would have just got rid of like most of those parts, at least it wouldn't be so long and like keep going and going and going. And what he just said, like he trained him, his son has a trainer who was training with Odysseus, so now it's his son's trainer, and he's showing him like one move like this, oh, you need to do this. But I'm like, bro, it's so unnecessary. Like, you don't need 30 different cutscenes of you learning the most like basic shit. Anyways, go ahead. My bad, sorry.
No, it's fine. GGC, welcome to the stream. So welcome. So we got the GGC here today. Welcome. Well, I agree with you there. It just shows you how badly the story is being written. Like, it is not that good, really, to be honest. But let's carry on. Let's see what the guy has to say.
Before Odysseus saves the next one to be his hunting hound. There's really just one other moment like this. There are many reasons for adapting classic and foundational works accurately. In the first place, they have been honed over centuries into something like their finest form, so changing them is an almost unpardonable act of ego that pretty much never produces a superior work. Christopher Nolan is not a better storyteller than 1,000 generations of the best storytellers combined. In the second place, the standard problem with changing adaptations is that events in good stories have chains of causality. It's the problem George R.R. Martin talked about in his Butterflies blog post criticizing House of the Dragon. Change a minor thing, and here Nolan is changing major things, and the ripple effects can break the entire story later. In the third place, ancient stories are a reminder of who we were. They're our history. They show us some things that are similar and universal, and they show us a great many ways in which the past is a foreign country where things are done differently. They allow us to re-examine what we take to be common principles, and they instill a sense of humility. They show us how temporary our permanent things are. Most often, they let us see how far we've come, but in other limited ways, they may show us where we have gone wrong and what we've lost. Yes, it's probably a good thing that we don't throw dogs off cliffs or sacrifice our daughters for favorable wins, unless we're Chinese, where such things still happen from time to time. But these are the two instances of authenticity in the movie. Even then, one of them is going to be stripped of its motive and of much of its meaning. The rest of history is sacrificed on a very modern altar. Heroism and older conceptions of virtue and valor are entirely missing. The result is a film that tells us nothing new, because all Nolan's really interested in is making the strange familiar. He's not telling an old story for the first time, he's telling a modern story again. He shows us nothing we don't already know, nothing with which we're not familiar, no assumptions we do not assume for ourselves. Even Troy, not regarded as high art by any means, strikes a better balance between the values of past and present than this movie does.
Bullies and cowards. Most of them were old enough to go to Troy, but when they saw Agamemnon sail, their fathers hid them. And you knew Agamemnon's war would take many years and many lives. So he raised his army by lottery.
Like this, for example. In the poem, the suitors are all immature. They are the children of those men who went off to fight at Troy, now grown, but without their fathers to teach them right from wrong. Here, in its strangeness, the Odyssey contains a universal fear that boys without guidance revert from civilization to savagery. Hard man, good times, weak man, hard times, and so on. Nolan's Odyssey wants to make a different, current, fashionable, and much less profound point. As we see in the flashback, Antinous is drafted via the lottery. He does not want to go, and he switches places with Sinon. We see Odysseus complicit in this lie, overlooking profound dishonesty with the vague promise that Antinous' family will compensate Sinon's financially.
But Odysseus was sensitive to a father's shame. He felt for these fathers.
Odysseus, then, is the general overseeing the draft for Vietnam. There are so many instances of this that I'm quite sure one of the several external sources Nolan is drawing on for This movie is Jonathan Shea's Odysseus in America. My argument in this video is not that Nolan's film is empty.
We're going to get it in the description. It's in TC's. I posted the links below, but we're gonna get it in the bio too.
Often in ways that make it less interesting and often in ways that make it nonsensical. And we've just had one example. Earlier in the film, Telemachus says this to Antinous.
Well, since none of us can really know who our fathers are, don't claim to know mine.
This line might have worked in the original story, but it doesn't work in Nolan's. Antinous was old enough for the draft. He knew his father for nearly 2 decades. Nolan doesn't do metaphor, but even read metaphorically, i.e. you don't know your father's true character, the line doesn't work, because Antinous initiated the conspiracy. He committed the dishonest act that his father then aided and Odysseus abetted. Since this scene presents it as though this is the first time Telemachus has heard this story, he can't have been implying that Antinous' father was dishonest, because he didn't know that until right now. All this means there's quite a significant line of dialogue in the opening act, one that's meant to tell you about 2 characters and how they regard each other that makes no sense whatsoever. And then there's a second big problem. Later, Odysseus is going to present the Trojan horse as a violation of Zeus's law that triggers civilization.
Yeah, linear story progression is important in a movie or even in a book.
Collapse, to use more or less his own words. But since Zeus's law has been expanded to encompass the Golden Rule, and since the Golden Rule has been expanded to cover all conduct in warfare, then Odysseus has already broken that law, long before the horse is made. He broke it by indulging Antinous' draft dodging. It's not the only example where the movie ignores these breaches in order to present the horse's original sin, but it's a bad sign that we've already undermined the fundamental conceit of the movie. Telemachus then goes to visit Penelope, who tells him, as if he doesn't already know, that the elders have decreed she has to remarry once she's completed a burial shroud. Here, the movie tries to combine adaptation with invention, and it produces a mess. As in the poem, Odysseus tells Penelope she must remarry if he does not...
The way the whole Odyssey is actually just a farce, basically. It's just a movie. It's not based on the Odyssey. It's just their own version of something.
Yes, their own rendition. The Odyssey, again, it was a text. It was a book. And so you look up what the text says, and if it was made off of it, then that would be one thing. But obviously, you know, there's Hollywood. They do the dramatic scenes. You got steel armor and the Bronze Age and stuff like that. And the Mycenaeans weren't correct. The soldiers weren't correct. Yeah, it looks beautiful in some parts. You see the you know, different creatures, the Cyclops, the Titans, all that stuff. That's great. But if you're looking for just something that's good on the eyes, that's one thing. If you actually want to come watch the Odyssey because you read the book, this is probably not the best thing to go see.
No, well, I won't even waste my money in any case because of the other progressiveness in there. Because quite honestly, it's it's just me personally. I'd rather wait for something better to come out to go and watch.
There you go. Thumbs up. So that's the final conclusion of the day. That's the final conclusion.
That's what I will wrap up with as well. Is the fact that this whole thing is my point of view, and it's Turbo's point of view, and it is TCDN's point of view. The Galveston boy, that's his point of view. So basically, this is our point of view, how we see it. And I mean, you're going to have your own way of seeing these things. You can have your own, you can make your own mind up. But personally, for me, I won't waste my money to go watch it because you're going to pay a lot of money to go watch something that you're not going to. If you know history and if you know historical backgrounds and you read the Odyssey and you like that sort of stuff and you like ancient Greek stuff and stuff, then this is not for you. Don't go watch it because you're going to be very disappointed. You're going to waste your money. You're going to waste your time. You're going to be very disappointed. It is woke. If you're not into woke stuff, you won't like it. Personally, I don't like the fact that they got a transgender woman playing a soldier, which was not even a soldier in Homer's Odyssey. He was actually a spy. They make him up as this heroic warrior that got killed by the horse. It's all nonsense. And then basically, secondly, Helen of Troy wasn't a woman from somewhere in Africa, as this guy said. You don't want to watch something that's made in Africa because it's not an African story. It's a Greek story. So that's the other thing. It's definitely not
south of the Congo. South of the Congo.
Yeah, south of the Congo, as he said. And somebody that follows, it's not Batman, he says, follows, what do you say, follow Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
So basically, it's a mix between Star Wars, Darth Vader, someone from Uganda, and then it's launched 1,000 ships from Uganda, and then
the Titans from the future that are hundreds of years later. You got all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah, it's madness, man. It's true madness. Personally, I don't think it's a worth my money to go and watch it. Personally, I will not watch it. Luckily for me, my friend Turbo has watched it for free. Luckily, he didn't spend a penny on it, so fortunately he didn't spend his money because I don't think he will be very happy spending. What does it cost nowadays to go have a movie? That's without the popcorn and all this stuff. It's about 50 quid or something, $50 or something like that, just to go watch the movie. Personally, I won't spend that money on that. Anything that comes out of Hollywood, personally these days, is not worth watching, to be honest. And please do, if you guys want to watch this podcast, please do watch it. Please subscribe. Please check it. We got all the links of all these videos. I did all the people here that did the reviews on Odyssey. Please go and support them. The Metatron and this other gentleman, he's from Britain. Go support him as well. And there's another one also from Metatron. There's two from Metatron, and then this other guy. But the Metatron, if you want to see historical correct stuff, if you want to know somebody that knows his stuff, he knows his shit about ancient Greeks, ancient Rome, ancient Japan. He literally had studied at the University of Rome. He's got a university degree, master's degree in languages and in historical background. So please go support the Metatron as well. Go look his stuff up. Go check him out. He's a cool guy. I support him. I'm actually subscribed to him. I watch his stuff. When it goes something new out, it's quite interesting when he brings something out. He's got an interesting way of seeing things. He's a very balanced person. He's not biased towards the left or right or anything. He's right there in the center. He sees things as it is for a historical perspective, and I like that. And I want to say thank you to my friend Turbo, that came on and give us his insights.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on, and I appreciate TC putting this stuff together. Again, guys, this is just it's the very beginning. We're gonna only get better with time, and we won't always just do, like reviews and stuff. We'll do stuff with history. We'll do modern day stuff. We can do stuff with Texas. And so just be on the lookout. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. But yeah, happy Fridays, everybody. Deeply appreciate you guys for having me. It's been fun. It's been fun. A good rendition on history, on, cinematography, and just based off like culture itself. So I appreciate it.
And the other thing is, guys, I just want to let you know, my friend here, Turbo, is going to be a permanent member of the cast of this channel as well. He's also going to be a panel member to basically ask questions and bring things in. And he's also going to get people in because he's working in the field of politics as well. So he's going to get some people in, maybe, hopefully, to come and talk to us, and we can ask them questions about what those people are and more about them and things like that. And I'm going to do a rendition with Jonathan, who is a famous playwright. He wrote the book Mars Attacks, and he wrote some parts of Batman 1980, 89, part of the script of Batman as well, and things like that, and a few other films as well. 1984, that book there, he helped with the making of that movie when it was made. He helped with that. He's got interesting stories of what happened there and things like that, and British theatre and stuff. He's a very well-known guy. He's unfortunately still busy with his books. He's almost finished with it, so I don't want to bother him while he's writing his books, because I know people like that has ways of they write they write their ways. They got a certain way. They don't want to be bothered when they write their books. That's how their creativity works and stuff. But as soon as I can get him on, I'll definitely going to get him on. And then TT and Turbo Yak and also going to ask him questions and things. And we're going to interview him and get more behind the guy and see what he's about and see what he talks about British theatre and the truth why British theatre basically collapsed and why you don't get any more British studios and stuff like that. And he's got a lot of interesting views on it, and it's political as well, but he's got his own views on it and how he sees things and how he sees Britain, what he thinks about things. And he's also very well read about medication and medicines and pharmacia and all that sort of stuff. So he's pretty quite clued up on all those things as well. So hopefully we can get him back in the future for those sort of things as well. And I just want to say thank you to my friend TC as well. He was the producer on the background. He did an awesome job. This is our first time we did it in this format. I really think it went well. I truly thank you for that, TC.
Yes,
thank you for your hard work on that.
Really?
Really, thank you for that.
Just to let you know, the description has been fixed for all 3 of the videos, links used in here.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So we got everything fixed up now. It's updated. Or need to go ahead and click on any of those links. I had already put them in the comments and whatnot. You can see the original ones that I got from TC. Again, thank you, TC. And obviously our rendition over there. So it's going to be awesome. Please remember, this is an open channel. Whatever you have to say, even if you disagree with us, you can say, I don't agree with you. I don't care at all. I do agree with you. So later on in the future, if we do end up having, congressmen or like representatives from the United States come on, please, if you see that it's a Democrat or it's a Republican or it's an independent, just be open-minded, come in, see what they have to say. Just please respect everybody, and that's all I would say about that.
And the other thing is what I wanted to say as well is, if you disagree with me of Turbo or TCDN and stuff, and you think we are wrong, and I make an open invitation to anybody, come and debate us. We will debate you. We will talk to you. We have no problem with that. We keep it civil. We talk. And you can try to change our mind. You can say, we're wrong on that topic. And then you have the right to come and say, all right, if you feel like you wanted to basically talk to us and you want to take us on that point, you want to debate us live, feel free to do so. We are willing and open to do that. I am not scared to talk to anybody. I will talk to you. We can discuss it, and you can give your points, and I'll give my point of view, and then we'll bring our receipts, and you can basically bring our receipts.
You're gonna be our first special, or the second, because I guess the first one was me. But you gonna be the second special guest, GGC. Come up here. I want to know why you don't care. I want to know why you don't care.
Yes, and I want to get the Gremlin from New York on you, definitely, because I'm the Gremlin from South Africa that lives in England now. I want to get the New York Gremlin on you, because I want to get his point of view on New York. What it's like to be a New Yorker. Because I've got a Texan on now before, and that's TCDN, aka Galveston Voice. I've got him on, and we had his views, which is brilliant. I love the guy to bits, and he did a lot of hard work for us. And now I want to get the Gremlin on here from New York, because that's the one we want to talk to. Because we want to pickle his brain and tick his brain and get everything out from him. I know he says he's a raving, routing lunatic, but I like that as well. And he says, it's also that. That's typical how it is. I like that about him. He's brilliant. So we can have a bit of humor there as well. So take him with a pinch of salt. He's a grumpy gremlin, but he's a nice gremlin. He's actually an honest, straightforward, grumpy gremlin. At least what you get out of him is honesty and straightforwardness. Typical New Yorker, typical straightforward, tells you straight what it is. He tells you to off, and that means he means it, but he means it in a good way, which I like.
There you go.
In any case, thank you very much, DC. Thank you very much, Turbo, for being here. Thank you for
Yes,
being
sir.
here, Mr. GGC. And anybody else, all the other people I see it's on here, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Join our channels. Join my friend TCDN's. He's the Galveston boy. Join him as well. His link is on my channel as well. Go join him as well. And my friend King Turbo as well.
Yeah, we'll have to add King Turbo's
channel
YouTube
as well.
channel.
He does. Yeah, because he's YouTube. He's a gamer like me. I also got gaming channels and stuff, but he's also a gamer. We play historical games. We're into historical games like Rome Total War and Call to Arms and that sort of stuff. And we are going to do a lot of renditions on there on historical things as well, our own historical renditions and things like that. We have a lot of plans on it. We're going to do so. Please come and support us there. Please come and help and support us that we can grow there and we can get somewhere there as well, and we can start doing our dreams of doing historical recreations on historical Roman battles and World War II and things like that. So we would love to do that, and the only way we can do that is for your support. Thank you very much, guys, and support my friend TCDN. He's also sort of a gamer, but he's actually more into other things now. So go support him.
Yeah.
All right, but in any case, guys, thank you very much. I say from my side, good night, goodbye. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. Thanks, Turbo. And thanks.
Happy weekend, man. Happy weekend, everybody.
Yeah,
God
happy
bless you
weekend,
guys.
guys. Happy weekend, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm out. That's all I have to say.
And peace.